Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 5th of March, 2020. This is Gap, episode 506. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here, and how is it going in Australia? It sounds like there's some sort of apocalypse happening or something.
I don't know how things are over in the land of the free, but it is fucking bananas here. Everyone is losing their fucking minds.
So we had Super Tuesday yesterday here, and it sounds like you guys had Shitty Tuesday or something.
This has been happening for more than just Tuesday. Like it's an ongoing event. I went to the supermarkets on Monday. It's so fucking bananas, right? Like already all of the toilet paper was sold out. I wasn't there to buy toilet paper. I already buy toilet paper in mad bulk, right? Because I personally do not understand. Yeah. I'm a fucking trendsetter, baby. I personally don't understand why. Like, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but did you why do we always hide our fucking toilet paper? Why isn't toilet paper just in a big pile next to the fucking toilet, and we can grab a toilet roll and shove it on the roll holder immediately?
That's what mine is.
Moment, right? But no, for some reason, generations before us were like, oh no, they mustn't see any more toilet paper than is utterly necessary. Hide this away in the linen cupboard. And at my house, you'd have an entire shelf dedicated to just fucking toilet paper, right? That's where the toilet paper lives. So that anytime, somehow sitting on a toilet that was had no toilet paper left, the indignity of having to ask someone to bring you some fucking toilet paper. And if you grew up with brothers, you definitely weren't getting the toilet paper at any fucking pace worth, you were basically waiting for the shit to dry on your butthole, right? That was basically what was going down if you had brothers and you asked them to get the toilet paper. Because they would be you'd be oh, hey, Liam, I need some toilet paper. And they're like, oh yeah, cool. I'm just going to finish this level. And then you would just sit there.
Yeah, 3 days later.
Yeah, you didn't have a fucking phone back in those days. So you'd be reading fucking, I don't know, whatever you could. Whatever you took into the toilet with you, which you only did in my house when mum wasn't home because you didn't like you taking books into the toilet. Because, you're not there to read, right? But if nobody's ever going to, it's not like she was going to get me the fucking toilet paper, right? She'd just tell Liam to do it, and Liam would be like, oh yeah, just let me finish this level. And again, 3 days later, right? Anyway, so somehow that was better. That fucking embarrassment of sitting on the toilet with your dick out, trying to hover your hand over your dick and grab a toilet paper through the fucking door, or having the other person just throw fucking toilet paper through a fucking crevice just generally into the toilet, right? Somehow that was better than anybody seeing that you had more than one fucking toilet paper roll. So they all hid it away. Not in my house. Not in my house. There is currently 18 rolls of fucking toilet paper sitting next to my fucking toilet. 18, I tell you. And there's more hidden away because I already buy them in fucking bulk. They're down in the garage. But as soon as it drops below 10, I'm going and getting fucking 20 rolls of toilet paper. I'm going to fucking stock it back up again so that you never have to worry, right? Somehow, for whatever reason, people were losing their fucking minds about toilet paper. Not me, though. I was at the shops to buy some stuff to have for lunch for the rest of the week. Just regular, lunch shopping. But you get there and, all of the toilet paper is sold out. All of the rice is sold out. All of the flour is sold out. And all of the pasta is sold out. But none of the fucking noodles. They're in the same aisle. There's the pasta section, and right here is noodles. And I swear to God, if you serve me up a plate of fucking bolognese with on top of some ramen, I wouldn't fucking know, right? Nobody would fucking know. I'd be like, wow, there's some short fuck. Did you chop this spaghetti? Like, did you chop it short before you? Because why? Why would you do that? Why not just fucking serve it long? I'm cool with long spaghetti. I'm not a baby. I don't eat my spaghetti with a spoon, so you didn't have to chop it up. That'd be my main feedback. But like the supermarket, the Coles I go to is on the street where they hold the annual Italian festival, and apparently the Italians are not eating fucking noodles with their spaghetti. They're eating pasta. They don't care if it's gluten-free pasta or rice flour pasta or whatever, just provided it's not noodles, because apparently that's a bridge too far for them. So yeah, it's just noodles for days. It's the same fucking thing. I just don't understand. Like, what the fuck is the difference? Noodles, spaghettis, same diff. Anyway, nobody bought any of it. The worst thing.
Bought it all.
I was like, fucking. We'll see. We'll see who's smart next time, fuckers. Oh, the worst thing was, like, literally giant crowds of people stood in front of the empty shelves as if they could, like, fucking will it back into existence. And they would just, like, talk about how there's no pasta. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Everyone's here buying bulk pasta. Yeah, no, I just wanted a bit of pasta, but I wasn't going to buy it in bulk. But no, it's already all gone. And I'm standing there at the fucking noodles bit, like, picking out a packet of noodles. Like, do they know that noodles and pasta are the same thing? But then I can't go that way. I have to go, like, that's the short way out of the aisle. I've got to go the long way because there's fucking 6 people crammed in this fucking pasta section trying to talk about pasta. Insane. The noodles, by the way, at my Coles are literally crammed between the rice and the pasta. Like, it goes pasta, noodles, rice. Because even Coles, the people doing the layout of the shelves, understand the fucking natural progression that is pasta through noodles onto rice. They understand that, right? But nobody fucking buying any of this shit seems to fucking care. And so, yeah, it was pretty aggravating.
Right. So, like, what instigated all this? Because I have a feeling it was potentially one of those TV shows, like a current affair or something, and then they've put on, you know how they do those news stories, and they like blow something out of complete proportion, and then all the bogans are watching, and all of a sudden they're like, we got to get that fucking TP.
It's very tricky for me to know for sure because I know for certain one of those shows doesn't exist anymore. Okay. At least one of them doesn't exist anymore. Right. They got rid of one or the other, right? Today, tonight, or
I think it's a current affair is still on. I'll check.
Maybe. But I did see a BuzzFeed report yesterday who tried their best to track it back to where this lunacy started. And their conclusion was it was something on Channel 7. So I think Today Tonight stopped airing, and then they expanded their nightly news from into an extra hour or some shit.
Right. So they do real news, and then they do pretend news. Garbage news. They do that here as well. Yeah. Yeah,
but it's like melded into the same thing, so nobody can fucking tell the difference. And yeah, and so yeah, they must have done something on fucking bog roll is flying off the shelves or whatever. The best, like a fucking emergency shipment of toilet paper caught fire on the Story Bridge in Brisbane overnight. Like, what the fuck is going on here? What is going on here? Oh my god. Anyway, so Australia's losing its absolute fucking mind. Because we don't even have that much coronavirus. I will tell you what, though. I went out to the movies last night to go see The Invisible Man. Everyone should go see it.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Not barring the last 10 minutes. Which is just fine. But fucking I was pretty, like, I consider myself to be pretty fucking centered, right? Like, obviously not when I'm playing video games, so I'm a fucking raving lunatic. But like generally I'm pretty centered, but I was like pretty hyper aware. I went to piss. And I was doing a piss at the urinal, and for whatever reason at the shopping center I was at, the
Someone was coughing.
urinals. Well, no,
You
the
had to get out
urinals
of
were
there.
back to back with the sink.
Yeah.
So like you gotta piss here, like you gotta piss on one side of this narrow fucking wall, and someone's got to wash their hands on the other side, and so I'm just standing there pissing, and this dude is like comes up. There are seven free fucking like basins for him to wash his hands in, but he comes and stands behind me, and I don't know if I don't know if you do this or it's just me, but I like to crunch out a fart when I'm whizzing, especially when I'm at the urinal. It's just it's a nice little it's a moment, But if some dude is standing directly behind me washing his hands, I can't do it, right?
You could just to, like let him know you shouldn't do that next time. This is a no-go zone back here.
Well, yeah, maybe I should have laid
Give him
the
a
rules
3-second
of the
warning.
land. But I couldn't bring myself to do it, and so I had to wait. And he did the whole 20-second long hand washing, like the
He's
full
counting out
fucking
loud.
bit. I basically I felt like I could hear him like mouthing the numbers under his breath, like 1, 2. And I'm like, what the? Come on, motherfucker! And then he finishes, right? Doesn't dry his hands, and coughs into his fucking hands, right? Which undoes all of it. So as soon as he coughs, I like couldn't fucking handle it anymore, and I crunched out a giant fart, right? Because what am I supposed to do? And then I wash my hands for the full 20 seconds because I'm now fucking hyper aware of the deal. And I go to exit. I dry my hands. I go to exit, and there's his sopping wet fucking door handle, right? Because he didn't wash his hands. He coughed into his hands. I'm like, So I went and got a paper towel, and I opened with a paper towel. I must have looked like fucking Monk or something from that fucking TV show, Monk. I must have looked like I'm some sort of fucking germaphobe. Like, oh, wow, look at this guy. But, like, all I could, like, yeah, I consider myself to be a centered person, but now I'm hyper aware of stupid shit for no reason. I would have been hyper aware of his presence because he was standing behind me while I was trying to fart. But instead, I became like it then transitioned to me being aware of him coughing into his fucking filthy wet hands and not drying them, and then using them to open the door. It was pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my story.
Right.
That's the podcast.
That is that is our weekly coronavirus update.
Yeah. It is the I speaking of coronavirus, I noticed last week, like right at the end, I was all like, hardly anyone's dying from this stuff. It doesn't seem that dangerous. And then we finished the podcast, and there was a news report where Donald Trump said literally the same thing, and I'm like, fuck. God damn it. I'm like, that's how I must be fucking wrong if I'm on the same side as Trump. I've fucked up somewhere. I gotta re-examine what the fuck I'm thinking, because that man he's like literally halfway retarded at this point. Like, he's got dementia that's oncoming so fucking fast that he's gonna be a drooling mess before November rolls around. So yeah, it's pretty concerning when like my independent thoughts are aligning with Trump. That's not good. I might also be deteriorating at a very rapid rate. It's possible. I don't know. I might have the coronavirus.
Maybe.
I'm just
yeah, I think my wife's got a bit of a cough.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh yeah, next week it'll be. But it seems to be just like older people that are struggling with it, like the common cold, like the really bad flu or whatever.
Yeah.
Elderly people or people with like weak immune systems are the ones that have to be super aware of it. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we should be okay.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. We'll
Unless
see.
this is how we find out we've got the AIDS.
Or it evolves into something worse and it ends up being like, I don't know, a zombie outbreak or something like that.
We talked about this last week, right?
Did we?
Yeah. I was talking about how Plague Inc. is not a model for fucking
Alright.
how diseases work. But I think we could all do well to watch Contagion just so we can watch Gwyneth Paltrow die. You know? It's not really relative to anything else. But if we were at all to watch Contagion, we'd see Gwyneth Paltrow die. We could follow it up with Seven, where she dies in that as well. I just think it'd be good, for the psyche of humanity to remember the times when Gwyneth Paltrow has died in films.
Yeah.
Because the world's just better when she's dead.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's got some sort of candle that smells like her vagina that will cure coronavirus. But I'd prefer to imagine that her head is in a box. Spoilers for 7, by the way. If I hadn't said spoilers for 7, nobody, people who hadn't watched 7 wouldn't even know anyway. That would have just been some sort of, macabre fucking thing to say, but...
Yeah.
I will. If you haven't seen 7 at this point, it's too late.
It's too late to watch it. You can't watch that film anymore.
No. You can't even say why you can't watch it anymore, because he didn't fucking credit himself. He went, oh my god.
Maybe that's a good thing. People are...
Maybe.
Have you seen that YouTube video of that guy that absolutely hates Kevin Spacey? This is before all that stuff.
Unrelated to 7, of course, but yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
And he shows up and the guy starts yelling at him. Oh, it's
I have to see it now. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'll Google it later.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's similar to I get a kick out of those YouTube videos where people are watching things and they don't sort of know what's about to happen next. There's that good one where it's like Toy Story and it just cuts to black after they're falling down a lava pit and someone's edited it, so it's just the credits after that. And it's his parents are watching it. They're on
amazing.
A conveyor belt with lava or something below them. And they're this is the end, and it's got Woody and Buzz hugging each other, and then it just fades to black and the credits start rolling. It's pretty good.
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it.
Anyway, we got a lot of games here. There's about 14 on the list, I think I'm counted.
Yeah, we should stop fucking about it.
It's going to be a 4-hour show, I feel like. Let's get right into it. Let's kick off with Apex Legends. We'll maybe just go straight down this list.
All right.
Apex Legends, I've been playing a bunch of that. There was a new update that rolled out this week, which introduced a brand new mode, which they're doing these weekly events every once in a while where they'll roll out a limited time
They're doing
change.
Weekly events every once in a while. It's just a pretty good.
Yeah, they're not running them every week. There's a new event. It's once a month they'll run it for a little bit of time. And this one is called Deja Vu. And what they've done is they're sort of trialing, I guess, a couple of even gameplay changes in here as well. So they're not only chucking in unique events, but they're also let's try this weird sort of new item, and if people sort of react to that really well, then maybe we can introduce that into the main game. So it's a really interesting way of sort of trialing certain things rather than having a PCR or something like that. A test server that people need to go and check, that sort of stuff out. So yeah, it's an interesting way of doing it. So what they've got in this one is an Evo shield. And the way this shield works is it's only got 1 bar of a shield on it when you pick it up.
Yeah.
Generally, the white shields are the very basic shields. You pick them up and they've got two bars. And then from there, you can go from white to blue to purple. And then the best shield that you can get in the game currently is gold shield. And so this Evo shield starts off with 1 bar, but it's got a damage meter attached to the shield. And the more damage you do to other players, that meter drops down. And then once it hits 0, then it adds an extra bar onto the shield, and it sort of upgrades the shield. And so you need to do like 150 damage, and then it upgrades to like a blue shield, and all of a sudden you've got like three bars, and then you have to do like another set of damage, and then it goes from blue to purple, and then it can go to yellow, and then they've added an extra layer onto like an extra tier of shield, a brand new one, which is red.
Right.
And it's like an interesting way of rewarding aggressive players, like players that want to go out there and find this shield and go and do some damage to other players. And it's something.
So once you do 150, it automatically upgrades to blue, and you've got full shields again, or
I believe you have to, you have to charge the shield. Like you need to get it. Like it'll be a blank slot. It's not like you can be in the middle of a fight and then all of a sudden you go from you go to a full shield again.
Okay.
I think that is how it works. I'm not 100% sure.
Because that would be gross. That would be disgusting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. It's like an empty charge, and you need to charge it in order to get it back to its spot. Yeah. So what I was gonna say is like it's an interesting game mechanic. Like it's something we've talked a lot about. This idea of having a battle royale where rewarding players for being aggressive and not having like a system in there that like de-emphasizes a combat or like sort of stops players from taking fights, I guess. And we saw that in PUBG when that first came out. And when you finish a fight in PUBG, if you're both like in a long combat, you can come out of that fight being worse off than what you were. And so it starts this trend of is it worth engaging fights? And that's something we saw roll over into the esports scene, where people didn't engage into fights because it wasn't worth it at the end of the day, because you're coming out of fights with less armor, or no helmet, and because it's such a quick moving game, it's hard to get that stuff back to your full strength again. And then we saw Blackout come around, and they introduced armor plating, where you would fight enemy teams. Once they were downed, you'd be able to steal armor plates from them to rejuvenate your level of shield, whatever you had, which was a fantastic fix. And it's something we talked about on the show that they ended up incorporating, and I think it worked wonderful. And then Apex Legends came around, and they had battery shields in there, which was a way to heal on the fly. You heal like it's such a fast-paced game, and you can heal in the middle of fights, and it's a really satisfying way of engaging in combat. There's that risk reward of shit. Do I heal in the middle of this fight to get myself back up to like full strength, or if I'm healing, it leaves me open to be attacked? And like you've got to really pick good moments to do that. And so by them adding this extra shield mechanic in there, again, it's another way to encourage players to get into fights and reward them for doing that. So I think it's an interesting. I definitely think it's very interesting. It's not like at the moment at least, it's not like a rare shield. It's sort of sporadically placed. Like you don't see them as much as the white shields. But in saying that, this mode they're doing, Deja Vu, is a mode where every round that you play, the loot is exactly the same. So this is again another thing we've talked about on this podcast, is like limiting the RNG factor of battle royale games by having you understand where the loot is going to be at all times, right? And so you can't you can't get dicked over by RNG if the loot is always in the same spot, because you know where it's going to be. You don't run into a building and you're like, oh, I just got 2 grenades and some ammo. Yeah. Now you know where the stuff is going to be. So I can jump into a game and be like, I know exactly where the Evo shield's going to be, and go for it. So yeah, that is also another interest. I don't see Apex Legends going that way necessarily, but they're doing an interesting thing with like set loot tables and set. I think it's set circles and playing set circles as well. So I should check that actually, because I could be wrong about that one, but it's an interesting way of like testing a lot of this stuff and seeing what works and then what doesn't, and then possibly incorporating into the main game. I have a feeling Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I think, the vault key permaspawn and the vault locations is probably as far as I would want to go in that direction. I don't think set circles is a good idea. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you can go too far down the set loot concept before it's just a giant scale last man standing map,
Right. Sorry, so I'll correct myself. The plane path and the circle locations are fixed every day,
Right.
and they change on a daily basis. So
Right.
that's
Okay.
interesting way of doing it.
It's
But the loot is exactly
interesting.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't think it's a good idea, to be honest.
No,
I mean,
I don't think it's something they incorporate because it kind of breaks that way of doing it.
It's not battle royale.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But also, again, the it's a fun way of knowing, like, oh, I know where the circle is going to be, and so you've got a good idea of like where you can sort of land and where you, like, if you want to play aggro, you know where the circle's going to be and where you want to fight and all that sort of stuff. Whereas if you want to do this type of team where, occasionally we'll like do a hot drop, but for the most part we like to land pretty far outside the circle and work our way in. So if you're the type of player that likes to do that, that's pretty cool for you because you know where the circle's going to be, so you may as well try and go outside the circle as opposed to landing somewhere far and then being like, oh, we're at the edge of the map and the circle's on top of us. So now we sit here for 20 minutes and we don't do anything, and now we're getting cold. But yeah, it's still a cool way of doing it by them resetting it every day. So at least it's something, like, it's not the same thing for a week. It's the circles are different, the plane parts are different. But I think the Evo Shield might be something we see incorporated in the full game. Because that's a really interesting mechanic, I think.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah,
check it out.
They've made a couple other changes. So Bloodhound got a good buff, really big buff. His ping that he puts out to see people with, it's been increased by 3 times as much. So it's a huge area now, and I guess the incentive behind that is to make it more. Bloodhound is a hero that is supposed to be used for tracking players, right? And that's kind of not the way it was being used. It was being used as a, like, let's sit in this building and we'll ping and we'll try and find out where people are.
Point defense,
really defensive thing, because when you would run into an area and you'd ping, it's really short range, and so unless they're in the first 2 buildings,
and it gives you away, like, very much gives you away. So you need, like, it's better off if it's just used defensively when to get a location.
And by them increasing it by 3 times as much, now you can run into a location and get an idea of if anybody is sort of really close to you, and then start going after them. So that's a good way of doing it. The other big change is they have nerfed grenades. Grenades now take up 1 entire slot, which means that you can't carry as many, theoretically. But in doing that, they've increased the backpack space. So each backpack is now an extra, I think it's 2 slots per backpack. So you can still, like, as opposed to carrying 4 grenades, now you can carry 2 grenades extra. By that. And I think they made changes to magazine sizes as well. I'm just trying to look here. Yeah, they've changed the way magazine sizes work for light, heavy, and energy. They've made them 80 to 60, and then they've decreased the syringe and battery packs from 6 to 4, and then shield cells and syringes 6 to 4, and then med kits and shield batteries are 3 down to 2. So they're trying to decrease utility, I guess, on that one a little bit. Which is fine. Like, you could get to the end of games in that game and have so many batteries and like the game we talked about a couple weeks ago, we're just pinging grenades at somebody. I guess they're trying to encourage less of that, less grenades and more fights.
Maybe there were actual Apex devs in that game, and they're like, "This is fucking stupid. We have to do something about this. This is the dumbest amount of grenades I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Yeah.
Because it was the dumbest amount of grenades I'd ever seen. It was a goofy amount. Yeah.
The other big thing that's on here that they haven't mentioned, NVIDIA released a patch which is supposed to fix the error, the DGXI error, whatever it was, for people with RTX cards. And that issue in particular has been happening for maybe 7 months now, I would say.
Right.
Really long time I've been having it for, where the game just crashes, you get this error. It sort of says like your video card has been removed or something, like while you're playing mid-game. Like, you probably shouldn't do that. And you're like, I didn't do that. You've crashed. They finally... They're saying they fixed it. I have seen people saying that it hasn't been fixed. I haven't had the problem yet. I definitely experience it a lot. So hopefully they sort that out. And because the game doesn't have a reconnect feature, it's a big problem. Like, I've had it so many times where I'm in the middle of a fight and we're like the second team left and my game disconnects. I'm like, well, I'm out of this fight now. Cool.
Yeah.
And considering it's the latest set of cards, like it's the RTX cards that it's happening with. Yeah, that really really sucks. But hopefully they've sorted that part out, and it's kind of just a small group of people that are now having that issue. But I'll keep playing it and we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's an interesting update. We'll kind of see where that game goes. One of the big news stories that we didn't talk about recently is Drew McCoy, the one of the designers on Apex Legends, has left Respawn last week, and so he's going on to other things. What exactly, we don't know. It sounds like it wasn't something where he was unhappy with what was going on in the game or anything like that. It just sounded like he was pretty just wanted to try new things. But yeah, that's a big change, because I think he's done an excellent job on this game. It's really, like, I think it was in our top 5 maybe last year. I can't even remember. It was definitely in my top 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Should talk PUBG.
PUBG. Onto you've heard from the best. Now here's the rest. Yeah, PUBG. I reinstalled PUBG.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
I got drunk on Monday and got convinced by Crimson, who we play with sometimes, part of the third-person crew, to play some more PUBG. And so yeah, jumped in. We had one game on Miramar, our first game on Miramar. We landed Power Grid, which is just fucking stupid. I'm like, wow. So we're already off to a bad start. Back to PUBG bullshit, because I literally strafed this cunt with the auto shotty through fucking a doorway.
All right.
He was standing in the doorway, and I just fucking emptied into him, and he didn't take any damage at all. He took like one chunk of damage, and then he turned around and snap headshot me. And I watched the death cam back, and yeah, that, like, it looked like he didn't even take that damage. It looked like he didn't take any damage whatsoever. I didn't see any blood, even though I was fucking from here to my window away, emptying into this fucking motherfucker. It's an auto shotgun, like fucking 6 shells. How the fuck? Anyway, turn around, snap headshot me, and I'm like, well, might just uninstall it now and save myself the fucking hassle. But yeah, persevered. Then we had like 3 games on fucking Erangel, and it was good fun. Had some desync issues, like some real bad desync, in my very last game, which was annoying. I watched it back, watched the replay of it. I watched this dude, and I watched my kill cam, and he shoots me when I'm way behind a tree, 3 headshots in a row. I had a level 3 helmet on, 3 headshots in a row, but the last 2 I was clean behind the fucking Like from my replay's perspective, I was clean behind the fucking tree. And also, I bean him. Blood comes out, and he didn't take any damage. And so it must have been that fucking... They got that no trade mechanic in place, right? So the client will tell you you've done damage, and the server will resolve whether or not you were downed or not, because the PUBG doesn't allow for fucking kill trade. So it must have been that, where it just didn't register the damage on the server because it analyzed that he was doing damage first or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Except for the fact that I was clearly behind a fucking tree, and so it wasn't my fucking third shot. So it must have been a super bullet. That's like that's what fucking ticked me off, I think. Is it must have been like on his screen, he must have shot all 3 shots, right? And then the server told me the shots happened, right? I was leaning out, I shot, and the super bullet, which is when all 3 bullets connect at the same time from the server's point of view, from a damage perspective, which is those times when you'll hear someone like... Battlefield 5 is a really easy one to see it because everyone's doing fucking auto fire at close damage all the fucking time, and you'll see someone like stand in front of you, shoot at you, and like 5 bullets, no damage, and then the 6th bullet just fucking one-shots you. Right? That's a super bullet, right? Like, you hear all the damage, it seems like they're missing, you're shooting them, and then the 6th bullet does 110% damage, and you drop in a fucking instant, and you're like, all right. Anyway, that's what must have happened, is the super bullet must have done me and registered the no kill trade, because that's the only way I can fucking work it out. Because there's literally, like, on my replay, there was literally blood, and he took no damage. And it was a headshot with an SLR from fucking, I don't know, 50 meters or so. He didn't have like a full helmet. He had like a half level 2. He should have been downed, as far as I can tell. Right? Like the SLR, I think it's a one shot on a half level 2. I don't know. I figured, my guess was he should have been on a B's dick if he was still up at all. He didn't take any damage at all. That was very upsetting. But we had a fun game. Like, we had fun nonetheless. We were just dicking about, right? Like, we worked out pretty quick that the circle was going to go to Millbase Island, and we'd landed near Milta, so we just fucking bored straight out into Novo Repnoi. A crate landed on top of us. That's why I had all level 3 shit. And yeah, we just fucked about. We fucked about enough that we got 7 cars and lined them up at the bridge, and then shot out all the wheels, and then put fuel canisters next to them, and then we put spike traps in front of the cars, right, so that people would try to like ram through them. And it was the only bridge off the main island. It was foggy as fuck, and not a single person tried to cross the fucking bridge. Nobody even fucking dared. There was still 40 people left in the fucking game, and nobody even tried to go. Oh my god, that was upsetting in a fun way. But yeah. Anyway, the other games we had, yeah, we just like we just had good fights. It was just fun, you know. It was classic PUBG. I was noticing, yeah, a little bit of lag. I don't know if we're on the fucking SEA servers or not. I don't think so. I didn't think to look. I should have, but I don't think we were. I'm pretty sure we were on OC servers, and yeah, like we're just fucking having a go. Yeah, I don't know.
So is it still installed at this point?
Currently still installed, but only because I installed a new terabyte SSD, so I've got fucking space for days. So
right,
I'm no longer on the rotating games in and out. For now, anyway. I don't need to rotate games in and out of my storage space. But yeah.
Did you see the new update that's coming out? That's being teased by PUBG social media about Vikendi returning.
They're getting rid of snow on like a lot of the snow. I saw Kleb was upset about there not being any snow because he's from fucking Sweden, and they love snow. Yeah. I'm surprised the rest of the crew, the third-person crew, weren't upset because they love the snow as well. The Kakaina snow. Yeah. I didn't really get that one because there's no timeline for return to the map, was there? I mean, they're expanding Dino Park into Dino Land, which is obviously a genius move because Dino Park is the best part of that map.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I don't really.
And they're putting a train in.
A train? I didn't see this.
Yeah, a train will go around the map.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. It's pretty Apex of them. It's an Apex move.
I saw a post being like something about like them taking inspiration or copying Apex, and then other people being like, they're not copying Apex, it's their own ideas, and then like the designer being like, oh no, we definitely took inspiration from Apex.
Well, got to take inspiration from somewhere, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Vikendi coming back without snow. It made it really unique, I guess.
Yeah, I liked being able to track footsteps. Although I think I only ever used it to track tire treads, and I think I only used it like 3 times. I still liked it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're doing something with the dynamic weather again and putting in maybe snow for all of the maps, and it's like a thing where snow comes around for a little bit of time or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wonder what the reasoning is behind removing it. Because snow was not like, I liked Vikendi. I don't know why they're removing the snow, whether it's a performance issue thing or something else. I don't see how it would be. So yeah, I'm very confused about that change in particular. It's a strange one.
Yeah, it's pretty odd. That doesn't specifically make sense to me, but
yep.
I guess it'll come out eventually, right? Like
Maybe.
The reasoning. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. All right. Next up, we've got Rainbow Six Siege. I think you've been playing more of this, it sounds like.
I've been playing it pretty much every day, just staying in the swing of it, staying warm, I guess. It's one of those games, one of 2 games that I find I can have a round of and then go back to work at without having to really worry about having a big session of or anything. So yeah, I've been playing Rainbow. I had the fucking worst team yesterday. Like just the fucking first things first. That they were a 4-stack, and they were 3-stack, and one dude was thirsty as fuck about it. There's 3. 2 chicks and a dude, and then the 4th dude was just, they were like actively flirting. One of the chicks and this 4th dude were just actively flirting the whole fucking time, to the point where I had to like mute them because I just couldn't fucking do it anymore, to the point that in round 5 overtime, I was the last one alive, and apparently they gave me the information that I needed because I unmuted at the end of the round.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude's like, "Why didn't you fucking listen? What? I fucking told you he was on your left." And I was like, I couldn't fucking bear to listen to you cunts fucking yapping. I did say this out loud. I probably shouldn't have. Like, I could get away with it now, this week, right? I can tell people what I feel, because next week I believe they're putting in their they've got that system that Dota uses, right? Or they're implementing a version of it that fucking like how toxic a player is.
Sure, yeah.
So for now, yeah, I could get away with it. So I'm like, well, I had to fucking mute you cunts because you've got the most annoying voices in the fucking world, and you wouldn't shut the fuck up. One of you kept doing enemy voices, and I wanted to fucking kill you right? All I could think about was friendly firing you, so my best option was to fucking mute you. That's what I did. So that's if you want me to fucking listen to you in the middle of a fucking game, maybe shut the fuck up for half a fucking minute. And they tried to vote kick me, even though the game was over. Like they're like, "Oh well, yeah, we'll just vote kick you." I'm like, "The game's over." And then I got matched onto the opposite team from them in the next game, and they were trying to convince my teammates that I was toxic, that I was toxic to them because they were girls. But yeah, it was pretty aggravating. It was pretty much the worst thing. But yeah, apart from that, like I had fun. Like had to mute some people, but I can mute some people, which I couldn't do in fucking Quantum League, or I couldn't hide the chat. So yeah, at least I can still mute people, which is really all I give a fuck about. And then I can unmute them at the end and pop off at them. Yeah. That's about it. I don't know. I like Rainbow. I'm excited for next week. Yeah. I don't think I personally, honestly, year 5 begins. I honestly don't think the new operators will have a huge impact, but they will change things up a bit, and it'll be interesting to see what people can do with them. I'm definitely going to try and climb up some hatches and do some sneaky flanks that way. But otherwise, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I have to check it out. I haven't had a chance to jump in and play for a little while, so yeah, should be interesting. All right. Next up, I've been playing a bit of Path of Exile. The reasoning behind this, I guess, was the whole Wilson thing.
Right, sure, yeah.
Like a lot of people talking about that. And then I think I got to the point where I was just like, I really wanted to play it, but at the same time, the reviews for it were pretty negative. I think GameSpot gave it like a 4 or something in the end.
Yeah.
Like a game that was in early access, came out of early access, and then just had a ton of bugs. Not even related to the server problems they were having, where like the people just couldn't get in. But this was things with like items disappearing and crashes and just all this stuff like in the game, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe I don't want to play that one. So I jumped back into Path of Exile, which I'd played a little bit of last year, which is a free-to-play sort of very much Diablo inspired dungeon clicker, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. There are some issues that I do have with it. Like, it is very much inspired by Diablo, like even to the point where there are sounds what you listen to when items drop or you pick them up, and it sounds exactly like the sounds you remember from playing those games.
Yeah.
And I guess that was it.
And it's like, stay a while and listen.
I haven't heard that one yet. But it's like when things drop on the ground. But that is the game they were trying to make. They were trying to make a very much Diablo type of inspired game. And I guess the difference here is that you kind of create a character in this game, and then there's this giant skill tree, like huge. There's like hundreds and hundreds of like little orbs and skills that you can spec into, and it's not like I'm gonna be the wizard and then you go and pick the wizard and then you sort of spec your armor towards that, the type of armor you want for a wizard and skill sets, and then you unlock additional powers and you sort of configure your skills around that. This is like you pick a tree and you're like, all right, I'm going to go down this end. So in my case, I went melee like a warrior, and I started going two-handed weapons, and so I would spec down into like dexterity and more strength and more dual wielding damage, and making sure that like I did certain abilities that sort of catered towards the gameplay I wanted to really go towards, as opposed to like I'm going to spec into intellect, which I don't really need because I'm not a mage character. And so I've gone down that path. So like I'm a dual wielding warrior that also has my backup weapon is bow and arrow, and then I've sort of spec'd into that a little bit because that sort of fits into dexterity as well. So if I ever get caught in a situation where I feel like I need my bow and arrow, I can whip that out. But I guess it plays very similar to Diablo. But my biggest issue with it is that it's just extremely overwhelming. There's just so much going on in terms of, I don't think that they do a good job of displaying things like damage numbers or like what is better than the next thing you're picking up. Whereas Diablo, I think, does a pretty good like indication system of when you pick something up, it's like, oh, here is what is increasing in your damage or your armor or how much, each specific item, whatever you're swapping between, here are the pluses and minuses between the two that you're going to get. Whereas it's just like you sort of look at the two of them and you're trying to figure them out using your brain. Like, all right, this thing is doing how much damage more, and this one's got plus 13 armor, and that one's got like spell resistance for lightning, and this one's got fire resistance, but this one here procs a certain other thing that happens, and you're just trying to look at these two items and you just can't figure out like, well, I'm just gonna look at the damage number and fuck it, I'll just go with that thing, that'll do, it's doing more damage, so let's pick that one. And so you end up down this trail of, you don't really feel like you're, I don't know, getting a grasp of like what's better. It's just kind of like, well, that seems like it's got a higher number, so I'll just pick that thing. So I wish they did a better job of like displaying attributes, like what the differences are between each thing you pick up.
I think the number crunching is part of the appeal. I think
no, it's not.
Maybe it doesn't appeal to you, but
Yeah.
I think that's what people who play it want.
Right, I don't like that. The other thing is the
Is there not like a mod you can get or some shit?
maybe there is. I need that. There's gems and sockets in the game, very similar to Diablo, where you could put like a gem into an item and it'd increase its. I guess in Diablo it was like plus whatever to strength, or you could certain things. Whereas this is specifically related to skill sets, and so you might get a gem, and it's a spell ability that creates molten fireballs around you, right? And so you attach that to your item, and that is kind of like a skill that you've got now.
Right.
And then on top of that, you can also attach like support gems. And so the support gems sort of attach back to that main like skill ability, but it makes them a little bit stronger, or it changes the way it kind of works. And so it might be something like, for instance, let's go back to the bow and arrow, right? You've now got a bow and arrow, and I put a skill into it where it makes me shoot like frost arrows, and it's like directionals. Like maybe it shoots like 4 or 5 out in a burst, and I can do them really quickly, and they're all frost arrows. And then I get a support skill, a support gem, and I can attach that onto my bow and arrow, and maybe that adds like extra lightning damage, but it also adds like 2 more bolts on top of that. And so now all of a sudden I'm adding a different type of elemental effect on top of that skill that I've got, and it also adds like more projectiles at the same time. So now I'm shooting 2 or 3 more projectiles, and so each item that you've got in the game can have these sockets for gems, and then you can sort of attach the gems into them that gives you better skills, or it gives you skills. Whereas in Diablo, you kind of unlock skills for your specific class, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to pick, this skill in particular. Whereas in Path of Exile, it's the gems that give you the skills, and so you can kind of just walk around and find them. And that's where I think another issue is the complexity of like, you're just finding this stuff all over the place, and when you pick it up, you don't really know what's going to be good compared to what you've already got. And so it's a lot of mixing and matching and trialing and trying to figure out like, oh, what skill is this going to, like, what is this going to do? Is it any good? And the thing about that is each time you use that specific skill, or when you're out killing monsters and creatures, you're leveling up the gems at the same time. And so they get more powerful and powerful as you go throughout the game. But you're then getting more of these gems, and they start back at like level 1 again. And so it's this thing of like, oh, well, do I start from scratch? Like I've got this level 10 gem that I've been using for 6 or 7 hours. but do I now switch to this other thing that I found? And like, I don't have a good idea of, is that one better than the one I've got? Because again, I don't understand like the numbers behind it. And that, you brought up that's the appeal of it, like the number crunching, and it just doesn't really cater to me. Like, I want to see the differences. Like, is it better than what I've got? And that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting way of going about it. And having played Diablo 4, that is sort of a route they're going in terms of having these gem sockets that allow you to manipulate your skills and your spells, so that like you can put support skills on top. Sorry, support runes, I think they're calling them, on top of your abilities, and allow them to do different things when you're in combat. But I think they're doing a better job of making it a lot clearer of exactly what it's going to be doing and how much damage or that sort of stuff. So that's sort of my biggest... Like, I'm still having fun with Path of Exile, but it just feels like I'm running around doing the same thing. Like, all I'm doing is playing the same sort of way, and I'm not really getting... I don't feel like I'm leveling up. Like, my skills are getting better, but I feel like the way I've been playing for the last 8 hours is the way I've been playing the entire game. Whereas you play Diablo, and every hour you're getting new skills, and your character feels like he's getting more and more powerful because things are coming along. But that's just not how I feel at this stage of the game, because...
Isn't there a point in Diablo where you wind up just doing the same old thing all the time, though?
Yeah, but that's like when you start getting to the more of the end game. When you're creating your character, you start off with the one ability, and then you get to a point where you start unlocking things, and then there's different variations in that ability.
Isn't that... I find that to be the most tedious part of Diablo, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I like the idea of getting more powerful as you go along, as opposed to just playing the same way.
What I'm doing in fucking... It's a loot game, right? Like, you're chasing loot, right? Like, and for ages in Diablo, the loot doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
While you learn what you're doing and stuff. I don't know. I don't know. It feels like, from your description, they've like mooted. Maybe there are just different types of Diablo player. Like different types of clicker game player. I guess people want different things. Who knew?
Right. Yeah, but I guess like I don't know how that changes as you start getting into the end game stuff, because I'm only into Act. I'm somewhere in Act 2, maybe halfway through Act 2 or towards the end of Act 2 at the moment. And like everything's done really well. Like the animations, the creatures, and there's interesting things with like certain dungeons you can go into, and it changes like they're like corruption dungeons where, all right, the creatures in this thing have 20% more damage, and they've got like different properties on them, and so you get in there, it's more challenging, but the stuff you get out of it is a bit more rewarding. And then there's things like beastmasters that come on hunts with you, and you've got like a bestiary, and you have to capture different creatures that are out there, and you go hunting for them. Like, there's some really cool stuff revolving around, like not just going from point A to point B. There's some extra sort of side missions and side quests you can go off and do. But the other thing I'm like, I just can't wrap my head around is the currency system. There's no like gold in the game. It's more trading items. So you like trade in trash, right? And then out of that trash, they'll give you parts of a scroll, right? And then you put in 5 parts of a scroll, and then that creates like an actual scroll, like a scroll of wisdom, which you can use to identify items with. Or it'll give you like parts of a town portal scroll, and 5 of those you can create a town portal scroll. And so you start off with like, that's your basic currency, and then as you start getting better and better at gear, it's like now when you trade an item to somebody, it's something different, like a orb, maybe like a couple orbs or something like that, and a couple of scrolls, and this stuff just starts winding up in your inventory. You've got all these different bits and pieces of items that you've got, and that's the currency in the game. And I'm like, all right, but how do I fucking I just want to buy a scroll. Like, I want to buy some identifying scrolls so I can identify my crap. Like, where do I get that from? And like, so I look it up on Google, whatever. Oh, you've got to trade somebody these other things to get that. And it's like, the game doesn't like give you an idea of like, I just want to buy it. So I've got to go and get these other pieces of stuff, trade it to somebody, and then I get the, you know.
It definitely strikes me as a game that is built around like, remember like a super late game Diablo 2?
Yeah.
It's like someone got super late game Diablo 2 and was like, oh yeah, let's just do that. Because late game Diablo 2, right? Like, we didn't even have fucking wikis back in the day. You just had to fucking know shit. And if you didn't know shit, then you didn't know shit. And you just had to fucking ask in all chat and basically just get fucking ripped up until someone eventually answered your question.
Right.
But it wasn't for basic shit. That was the thing, right? Like, it wasn't for any of the basics. You could get all your basics in Diablo 2 from the vendors. But yeah, once you started trading properly, it was just this fucking nightmare of trying to work out what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. But yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. Like, that's what this game sounds like.
Yeah.
Someone was like, but I think I've played it, right? Like, I have played it way back in the day. They hit the 2.0 and they were supposed to make a lot of fucking quality of life changes, but
has it hit 2.0 yet?
Hasn't it?
I'm
pretty sure that was released. Okay.
I know there's a new update coming out in like 2 weeks.
Oh, maybe that's the 2.0 update. Maybe.
It says on this first news article that I've opened up, Path of Exile 2 hits beta in very late 2020.
All right then. Well then, I'm way off.
Yeah. There is an update coming really soon. Within the next 2 weeks, there's like a countdown on the front page. It's like, I think it's 10 days from now. And I don't even know what that brings because I'm still sort of making my way through it. But yeah, I like a lot of the things they're doing, but also there's a lot of stuff in there that feels very like they're trying to keep people out of playing it. Like, I don't see people that just want to play that Diablo sort of experience and then getting in here and just being like, I don't understand half of this stuff. Like, for somebody who like me who plays a lot of video games and kind of gets an idea of what I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm in there and I'm confused about how the fuck do I buy one of the most basic items in the game, which is like a town, not a town portal scroll, identifying scroll. Like, how do I get that? Then that's, I feel like, an issue. There's like a glossary in the game where you do a lot of reading, but I like just basic things like that. Just not understanding. Like, am I playing?
Yeah,
this game
I remember.
wrong?
I remember falling off it because it felt too dense.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean,
Like, people enjoy those type of games where it doesn't hold your hand all the time, but I feel like they could do a better job of, and hopefully this is what they're doing in Path of Exile 2, or the update they're putting into Path of Exile is the quality of life stuff, making things a bit more accessible for people. Yeah. I don't know. Just give me some damage numbers. Maybe I do need a mod just to kind of get me
if
around
a mod exists.
That part. Or I just need someone to explain to me, like, the further I go through the game, is it like these gems that I'm getting, are they better than the gems I've started with? Because I just have no idea. And there's weird quirky things like where you'll pick up and you'll be using an item and this item gives you, and I've had this happen a bunch where it's annoyed the shit out of me. And I've got my character in this specific problem at the moment where this, say this sword that I'm using gives me plus 10 dexterity, right? And I've managed to equip it, but for whatever reason, maybe I unequip it, and all of a sudden I've lost that dexterity because maybe at some other stage I had a a necklace or something, and then that was giving me plus 10 dexterity. But since then I've switched out the necklace and I've got something else now, but I've got this this sword, and that's got plus 10 dexterity. And if I remove the sword, I lose that dexterity, and all of a sudden I'm below the threshold now. But half my items need that threshold of getting that dexterity limit, and so I can't use half my shit now. And I'm like, oh well, I can't equip that anymore, and I'm fucking screwed. I've lost half of my items all of a sudden, and there's no like warning to be like, oh, if you pull this off, you can't put this back on, and it's also going to screw up all these other things you've got. And so my character at the moment is running around without my main gear on, and I've got a bow and arrow, and I've basically got to get hit 2 levels so I can put another 20 points into dexterity, because I've removed I took off a sword to be like, oh, what are my damage numbers compared to the other sword? Oh, fuck. All right. Well, I've screwed up.
Yeah,
it's just stuff like that where you like, just give me a fucking warning or something. Like, tell me if I equip this, if I unequip this, all this other shit I've got on is not going to work, and then I can't re-equip it because I don't hit that limit, and I've just completely screwed my character up. Yeah, that doesn't happen in Diablo.
No.
Anyway,
but yeah.
You can call me a filthy casual, but
I will.
Oh.
You want the Fortnite, and
I want the Fortnite of Path of Exile and not getting it.
Yeah, Path of Exile is PUBG, but it works. But people like Path of Exile.
Anyway,
cool.
Still having a good time. Like, I jump in every once in a while, play a couple of levels, and then jump out.
Yeah.
Play something else. Dota Underlords, which we jumped over.
We did for some reason.
Been playing through a bunch of the city crawl missions and challenges and puzzles. I've done most of them at this stage. The only things I've sort of got left at this point are the challenges. I think I've got about 20 left to go through, and I'm about level. I'm in the 40s at the moment on my battle pass.
Battle pass, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I got to do Hobgen, but otherwise I'm kicking along, doing quite well at that. I like the street brawls. I think they're good for toilet time, to be honest.
They're really quick. Some of them are super quick because they're like knockout mode, but there's just 2 lives.
You've only got 2 lives. Yeah, exactly. So I think they're even better than a knockout game for toilet time, which is good. I mean, I said this in my review for GameSpot, which is live now.
Most of it.
Yeah, I think I said this in my GameSpot review. I feel like City Crawl, if it does anything wrong, it teaches players bad habits for real Underlords.
Mm-hmm.
Because it uses it uses knockout as the basis for its all of its stuff.
Of like
knockout.
You need 2 to level up a character instead of 3.
Yeah. And you don't need to worry about interest very much and stuff like that. So if you when you're doing the NO wing and you've got to earn a bunch of interest, you can't do that challenge in knockout. You can only do that in standard. A lot of the other challenges you can do in knockout, but you cannot do that one. And I feel like that overly emphasizes knockout. And I wonder if that is their priority, if knockout is their primary gameplay option.
I think it's just more of they wanted something that's in there that's sort of like quick. Because if you were having full games of like an Underlords game, it's 30-40 minutes, so maybe they just couldn't get a way in there.
No, it's true.
Even if they cut it down, like, what does a cut down version of Underlords look like?
I don't know. Knockout, I guess. I mean,
because they're already giving you like 40 or 50 gold in the round. What do they get to then? Are they giving you like 150 gold in between each round so you can try and get those 3 stars?
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't know. I just don't want knockout to be overemphasized.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, still enjoying it, but playing it less, mostly because I don't know. I was playing a fuck ton for review.
Yeah.
But it's now my phone game. It's 100% my phone game. I've fucked every other phone game off, and it is now my phone game, which is awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't need much else, to be honest.
Right.
It works perfectly. Knockout is a perfect phone game. Standard is a great PC game. Yeah, it's good. I don't know. You can see most of my thoughts in the GameSpot review. Like, that review, right? It's so tricky. It's so tricky to, I guess, write a review for a mainstream publication, right? Because what they want is not necessarily what I deliver, right? Because you read the review that I submitted. I made edits, but it was mostly sub-editing, correcting spelling and deleting commas and stuff like that. That review went into a lot of depth, really, but in places, I guess, that GameSpot didn't want depth in.
Right.
You know, it was analysis of like what in particular draws people into playing Underlords, like why you would want to play an auto battler in general, and why Underlords does it well, right?
Yeah.
Like that, but what they didn't want at GameSpot was the why you would want to play an auto battler in particular part. You know, like it felt like, I guess to them, it was too far off the main game itself. They want the review to focus on the game itself. And I don't know how to get, you know, it's, I don't know, it'd be like fucking making, let's go back to spaghetti because I love spaghetti, right? It'd be like making spaghetti, right? And they're like, oh yeah, spaghetti is red sauce, right? On noodles, so just make red sauce and noodles. And I'm like, yeah, but you gotta like brown the onion and like brown the meat and then cook off the veggies and, you know, cook off the alcohol and the wine. And like, wine? What the fuck are you talking about, wine? Get the fuck out of here. Get some red and get some noodles, okay? Red sauce, noodles. It's fucking easy, right? Like, that's what we want. We want red and noodles. And because it's mainstream, right? Like, yeah, I'm out there fucking 3-star Michelin chefing, but that's not what they want. They want faster pasta. And like, I can't blame them for not wanting what I deliver, I guess, right? Because they are what they are, right? Like,
Sure.
That's what they do for a lot of game reviews.
Sure.
Yeah, it's top level stuff to give people an idea of, you know, will they like it or not?
Yeah.
It's just that from my perspective, I'm like, yeah, but like, you got to know, right? Like, they're delving into gacha style game mechanics. Here's 1,000 words on what gacha style game mechanics and why they are extrinsically motivating for game players. And they're like, we don't give a fuck about this. That's not about fucking Underlords. Tell us about Underlords. The end result is people fucking love the review, right? Like, if people loved the review, maybe they, you know, that's their audience. They know their audience, right? That's the fucking thing, right? They know their audience, and they knew their audience would love that review, and maybe their audience wouldn't love me doing a fucking GDC talk on why the fuck Underlords and other auto battlers happen to have been so successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. just disappointing, I guess.
Because at the end of the day, it's not a review, or like you're supposed to, like, I try and write reviews for people, to maybe try and sell a product as well, but like also criticize it. So you're trying to write this thing
sell
to say,
or not sell, right? Like to
and at the end of the day, that's not what they're doing. They're getting the, we want the people that play this game to be able to pat themselves on the back because then they know their purchase or their the reason why they like their game is justified, as opposed to like somebody reading this and being like, this sounds pretty interesting, I might go check this out. But that's not a review for them because they've taken all those bits out of it.
Like that's definitely how it felt. Like, I don't think you can provide enough consumer information without the depth that I went to, because auto battlers are so inherently complex. Like, the basic idea of them is Crazy Town Banana Pants, but if you can just convince someone to fucking play, they'll get it really quick. That's the fucking, like, it's like the reverse of fucking Rocket League. Like, Rocket League is like, it's cars playing soccer. That's it.
Yeah,
that's like,
that's an easy explanation.
That fucking makes sense. Yeah, okay, well, I'll play that. And then I guess your job would be to delve into the depth of car soccer, right?
Yeah.
But the reverse of that is, well, you've got an 8x8 grid. It's not even a little bit like chess. It uses Dota character models. You're combining Dota heroes to create alliance synergy, and then people like fucking their eyes glaze over. Or you're like, Kleb, because we got Kleb to play it, like, just out of the blue, and he was the first of us in our group to, like, in the group of people that play on the Gap Discord server, to grab the winner knockout game without losing a round. He did it in a, like, I think
because I'm playing ranked, that's maybe my problem.
I was so close this morning. I came fucking right there. I lost my very first round because I didn't get any fucking rolls, and then I didn't lose another round afterwards. And I'm like, if I just had one fucking unit, because I lost that fucking first round by like a bee's dick as well. I'm like, if I'd won that first round, I could shove it in Kleb's stupid face. Anyway, he literally picked up the game like 2 weeks ago or some shit. Like, and he worked it out real fucking fast. Like, because it's not inherently difficult to work out. It's just difficult to fucking explain.
Yeah.
It's such a immediately fucking, and like, I mean, from my perspective, right? Like, if you ask anyone who the best reviewer is, right? They will not say me, even though they should. They will say some fucking YouTuber, right? They'll say Matthew Matosis or someone like that. They'll like trot out the names of YouTubers. They will not trot out the names of written reviewers. Even if we are, I think I'm going into way more depth than any reviewer out there. Because I'm the fucking Michael Jordan of reviews. But the thing is, right, they're working on a visual medium, and they're still doing hour-long fucking videos. They're still doing epics. These lengthy, in-depth, like 30-minute, hour-long fucking videos. Meanwhile, in the written form, like, they're trying to restrict how many words we use. And I find that to be so puzzling, because the difference between like a 30-minute video is, what is it, like 600 words a minute? So what's that? Fucking good lord.
Yeah.
I can't even fucking work it out.
Maybe 6,000 or 7,000 words.
3,600. Is it 600 times?
It isn't usually
30.
like 12 minutes about 15, between 15 and 2,000 words? I don't know, I'm just
12
trying to,
minutes.
yeah.
No, like every script I've ever written has always been 600 for a minute.
Okay.
So yeah, 600, 1200. I don't know. Fucking lots. A fucking lot of words, right? And that's still a visual medium, right? And yeah, they just go. They've got the luxury of time, the luxury of actual video of the game, and they still go into that much depth. And meanwhile, yeah, it seems crazy to me to be restricted to fewer words while still competing. It'd be like, I don't know, fucking it's Big Bash League versus Test cricket. Uh, like, yeah, except the reverse. Everyone's all about the fucking. Everyone's like, yeah, go the video. Meanwhile, yeah, I'm trying to do the best with what I've got there, and then I'm told to. Then I have to fucking cut half of it away. It's crazy to me. I think brevity in video game reviews is the fucking dumbest thing. Every game review should be longer and longer and longer. I understand the economic principles behind why it won't be. You know, people don't want to fucking spend 15 hours playing a game and then spend another 15 hours writing fucking 7,000 words, right? But, I mean, that's what I want to do. It's just, I just can't, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get the opportunity. Nobody wants to fucking publish Job's insane fucking deep reviews of games. And I know, you know, oh, why don't you just do it on YouTube? Because I'm fucking not monetized on YouTube. What the fuck is the point of that? So I just give I give YouTube money? I don't fucking think so. Oh, but you got to build up an audience. That's fucking garbage, right? Like, I should be getting, like, if I'm getting YouTube money, ad money.
Yeah. If they're making money off it and putting ads in
Right.
front of your stuff, then why can't you for each click?
Why don't exactly like from the fucking get go? Not to mention the CPMS on YouTube are fucking garbage, but whatever. Yeah, no, it's a stitch up, like a complete stitch up. But I like the alternative is for me to sit here and whine constantly about never being able to fucking do stuff.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do for the rest of the year is, unless I'm specifically commissioned to write a review, I'm going to start writing reviews and put them up on the Gap. Why not? Like, I might as well. I'll try and sell them places, but I might just put them up on the Gap website.
Yeah.
People can, like, I did it a little while ago. We did a couple.
Traction, yeah.
Yeah.
The Quantum Quantum Break? No.
Detroit?
I'm thinking of, yeah, Detroit. What's the name of the studio? Quantum something. Quantum.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dream. Quantic Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the notion as well of, I think the problem with writing a review like Underlords in particular is it's a new genre, right? And having to explain to a person like what this is. We got to a stage where we've talked about this before, like certain reviewers will not play certain games because they're just like, oh, I don't get it. Like I just want to play fucking, I don't know, the latest Zelda or, you know, Nintendo game. And I ran into this issue with, well, not an issue, but I got hit up to do the Dota 2 review for PC Power Play back in the day. And I had a similar thing where MOBAs were extremely new, and this was one of the biggest video game companies in the world making a MOBA and having to explain like what a MOBA is. And doing that in, I don't remember what the word limit is, but it was probably somewhere around 2,000 words.
On page, yeah.
Yeah, like in a magazine, right? And so all of a sudden you're in a magazine and having to write about the company that made Counter-Strike and Half-Life and Team Fortress, and this is their new big game that nobody has ever heard of before, and it's like literally one of the biggest games on Steam. Like, how does that work? Like, what is it? And so you spend the first 500 words explaining what a fucking MOBA is and very basic detail, being like, it's kind of like a sport where there's 5 people on the team, and it's, a bit like basketball or whatever analogy I used. I can't even remember. Or like a soccer team, everybody's got their own sort of skills and abilities, and then there's fucking towers all over the place, and each team's trying to kill the towers, and like that's very similar to like a Underlords game or a battle chess game where you're trying to explain, all right, it's like a chessboard, and each hero has different abilities, and you got to have certain compositions and fight each other, and there's also currency, and there's interest, and there's RNG, and this is how the RNG works, and there's a plate, like there's a hero pool, and if you're not explaining that stuff, then somebody that reads it is going to be like, I don't understand what the fuck this person is talking about. Like, what is all these mechanics that is going on? And so there's a very fine balance. Like, I understand that at a certain point you're needing to I don't need to tell you how an action RPG works for the most cases, unless it's like Dark Souls, and they've got this weird mechanic where every time you die, you lose all your stuff, and you've got to go back to the spot where you die. Like, that's.
But you can still use the game's cultural shorthand of it's an action RPG.
Yeah.
Except, but with a fucking MOBA or with auto chess, you've got to be like,
it's a brand new genre.
All right, where do we begin? I guess it's sort of like, which is why I wanted to go. I mean, when I talked about it because I wrote about auto battlers, what are auto battlers for IGN last year. I did that big piece. I wrote 4,100 words, and there wasn't even a review in that. There wasn't value judgment. That was literally just fucking describing what the fuck was going on.
But you're also describing what an auto battler is, and then being like, all right, this is Underlords, this is Dota chess, or I can't remember what the name is, the mod, and this is what Teamfight Tactics is doing, and these are the way, like, they're all sort of carving out their own space in this genre, where you can go extremely into detail about that. And that's 4,000 words.
Yeah, right. Like, but I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, even just trying to explain the fucking genres, 4,100 words, and that's the trick, right? Like, the trick is where are you supposed to draw the line? I honest to God think that fewer words in reviews is a mistake, because I guess this one sticks with me because I know a lot of people think I'm overly wordy, and a lot of people think that fewer words is better. Like, there's that old thing of I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I was it Jefferson. I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long one instead, because there's an art to condensing your words and picking them carefully. But the thing is, I already am picking my words carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the review I wrote for GameSpot, oh my lord, it was masterpiece. I had fucking puns for days. There were so many fucking puns. They were puns in Latin. Nobody's making puns in Latin. I'm fucking... Oh, this 400 IQ shit. This is big brain shit, baby. But it all had to go, which I get, right? Like, I used to delete a lot of puns when I was editing reviews. But like, all of it was just entertainment stuff. Like, it wasn't I remember Dave Kaziki, who was on the Raw DLC podcast. He used to love inserting terrible puns. He would insert bad puns to try to get me to leave his favorite puns in. He'd be like, I insert it. I'd be like, Dave, what are you doing? This review is a fucking nightmare. Why would you make this pun? And like, over beers later, after I'd edited it and I'd let his favorite pun go through, he'd be like, oh yeah, no, I put that one in so that you delete that and leave my good ones. I'm like, well, now I know, right? Like, you've given up the game.
I'm just going to delete all of them now.
So, yeah. But anyway, no. I do, like, I already choose all those fucking questions, those words real careful. Like,
yeah. And there's a reason why they're in there.
Yeah. Like,
And I think when we were even going through when you sent it to me, I was like, oh, you can probably go more detail in about this stuff. Like I think it needs to be
yeah,
like maybe talk about the Underlords.
there were like 3 specific things where you're like, you haven't really touched on this, so you could go even further in. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, shit.
Like the game's called Underlords, and you could probably spend
I think
1,000
I had,
words
like-
talking about Underlords.
I had like 1 sentence,
Yeah.
and yeah,
But like the perfect example is in your review. I think the first comment that that was on the article that somebody wrote was like, "This game sounds too much like it's pure RNG or something like that. Like this isn't for me." But in your original review, we talked about how it's RNG game, but here is why it's not purely RNG. You're taking the random number generator that it's doing and trying to work with it. Like you can still, like poker or whatever. You kind of dealt this hand, but you can definitely win at it if you play it properly. And like all of that stuff gets cut out, and all of a sudden somebody's like, "Oh, this doesn't sound like a game for me," because the bit where you explained why this works is not in there anymore, like a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, that comment fucking that ripped me up. But like, by and large, yeah, people fucking love the review. Like that's the thing,
Because
right?
I think
back
it's
to
the
that.
justifying themselves. Like, oh, I really like this game, and so
On the Underlords subreddit, yes,
yeah,
but like, it was I've seen it posted like elsewhere, like on Twitter and stuff, like
right,
and like on the game subreddit, and people were just like, "Yeah, this is a good review." Like,
yeah, could have
like-
been better. I saw the original. I saw the. You need to release the release the Joab cut.
Joab cut, that is gold. Yeah, like it was just one of those things, right? Like where at the end of the day, I mean, everyone gets precious about their words, but I think this was one of those ones where I was just shit, man. I answered every fucking question I figured people would have, and I think I, like, for a 9 out of 10, I think I could have convinced people to play it.
Yeah,
Even
I mean,
people who
like we've talked
wouldn't
about it.
like
You look
it,
at our group of friends that don't play Dota, and they've jumped like. I see Gavin on it all the time. Like he's always playing that game.
That dude's addicted. I fear for the children of tomorrow is that one of their teachers is definitely playing way too much Underlords. But yeah. So yeah, with that in mind, yeah, I'm gonna do. I think probably the first one I do, probably at this rate, be Doom Eternal, because I've put the feelers out to review it for people, and nobody's biting yet. So nobody's bitten at all. I've got just straight up rejection. So I might review it for like it's anyone who's expecting a fucking I don't know, like bloodbath. I don't think it's gonna happen. I sent you some footage of Doom Eternal that I should have sent last week, but I couldn't fucking plug the goddamn thing in. I didn't have the fucking. It wasn't even that cable you were showing. It wasn't even that one.
Right.
It was straight up SATA cable. I needed a USB to SATA. Fucking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that complicated things, but I got it done. And yeah, I chopped out. That was the section I was talking about last week where I was starting on fuck all health, and then I had to get through as like this entire sequence where like it's just a puzzle. It's a puzzle I had to solve, and you'll see. Right, I didn't do all of the parts where I fucking died over and over and over again because it was too tedious. But you will see the part where, like, you can see me get the health and then go towards the double damage, but jump straight over it, do some damage. I accidentally go through the portal. I don't know if it like everyone can tell, but I definitely accidentally went through the portal at the wrong time. I meant to step back through it after I'd taken the shot, but I take a shot when I've already gone through the portal. And I just fucking piss off, like waste some ammo, which isn't ideal. But yeah, like, and then I just break down the rest of and it is like that combination of rip and tear and the hectic bouncing away trying to stay alive until like whatever it is I need to stay alive comes back up and stuff like that. I honestly think they've nailed it. Like, my biggest criticism of Doom Eternal is that it is very video gamey, and I don't think that is like, I don't think anyone should be writing it off for being video gaming. I think that would be an insane criticism, unless it gets like out of control later. Like it turns into some sort of fucking, I don't know, Sonic ring chasing adventure. Yeah, no, I just think it's such a fucking tight execution of their original vision of what Doom 2016 wasn't. But yeah, like, yeah, so anyone expecting, I'm going to do that review for the Gap. I will definitely delve into how I was correct, but
yep.
I might even just call it I was correct about Doom 2016. But
right,
nevertheless, I will review Doom Eternal.
Yeah, nice.
So we'll start off with that. Why not? If I'm gonna complain about not being able to do the reviews I want, I may as well fucking fix it. Nobody wants complaints when they can't see fucking solutions. So yeah. Anyway,
cool. You can actually check out that footage as well. It's on our YouTube page, the gapodcast.com/YouTube. I put it into the podcast episode for last week. I don't know if it's exactly in that spot you were talking about, that specific scenario. I think I put it in the part where you're talking about getting health and
right. Okay.
I think the bit where we clipped out for last week, but
yeah, right. Okay, cool.
Because I was like,
nice.
I can't remember where this was. I think you talked about it for 40 minutes. It was like a 3-minute clip. And I was like, I'll just stick it here. But also put some about 15 or 20 minutes of Ori footage.
Awesome. On
there as well. If people want to go check out the video version of the podcast. Anyway, should we move on to the next game? Okay, so next up we've got Warhammer Vermintide 2, which is a game that we've been talking about playing for a little while. And finally jumped in. So this was released a couple of years back, and it is a set in the Warhammer universe, but it's like a cooperative 4-player game in the style of like a Left 4 Dead, where hordes and hordes of enemies are coming at you, and you got to kind of work your way from the start of the mission to the end and complete objectives along the way. And as you're doing that, it kind of throws at you cannon fodder enemies where there's just hundreds and hundreds of them coming at you all the time, but occasionally there's like the named enemies that kind of have different abilities, and they're trying to break up the fight a little bit. So it's a game that's gotten very favorable reviews amongst the community, and we finally decided to check it out. Each character that you can play as sort of has their own special weapon types and sort of like movesets. So my character in particular was like had a sword, but also secondary was like a bow and arrow. And I'm not sure what yours had other than the dual pistols and maybe like a sword as well.
A rapier, yeah.
And then we had Nate playing as well. And I don't even remember what he was. I think he had maybe an axe or something.
Like, no, a giant two-handed sword, and he had like I think a crossbow is his secondary.
Okay. Right.
But yeah. Basically what it boiled down to was you were the ranged specialist, right? Your dude's bow and arrow abilities are fucking crazy, and you can fire them super fast, and you got shitloads of ammo, right?
No. Because everybody starts off with like very basic weapons, and as you go along, you can attach different items or different types of weapons. And so I got one that had a lot of ammo, but the damage wasn't as much. So it'd take like 3 arrows to kill someone. So my default bow and arrow was, I think, 19 arrows or 30 maybe, and it was sort of like a one-shot kill, much like the swords. So swords are kind of like one-shot kill. But the one that was shooting really fast was about 3 shots per person that would take someone out, unless it was a headshot. But also it wasn't that accurate, so it just shot really quickly.
But you've also got your special ability where you just where it bounces between 16 cunts and they all die.
Yeah, it seems
Right.
to be like the ultimate, where it hits someone and it sort of pings off other people that are nearby. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really know how that one specifically works. Like if there's a limit on how many people it can hit, or you just kind of just press it and that just fucking
But
kills everything.
you're basically Legolas.
Yeah.
And then Nate's like the fucking melee specialist.
Right.
He's got the big sword that one hits everyone all the time and all that kind of shit, and swings real fast, and he just fucking murders cunts. And then there's me, and my dude is not a specialist at anything, and he's kind of shit.
You have dual pistols.
They don't one-shot anything. They don't, like, they fire pretty slow. He's like, bang, 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 unless I, like, hold down R, and I've only got 12 fucking shots. Like, I run out of fucking ammo so fucking fast. They take 16 fucking hours to reload, and I'm bang, bang, bang. And yeah, I'm fucking out again. It's fucking cooked. My dude's fucking terrible. Apparently it gets really good when you get to the really high levels and he gets good items.
Right.
Apparently he eventually gets some really good items, but it is a slog until you get there. But nothing evidence is better than the fact that I did fucking more monster damage than you two combined, and I had half as many fucking kills. So I'm standing there fucking doing these chops, and you're standing there and you're like, oh yeah, it fires really fast, right? But it takes 3 hits to kill anything. Except I'm doing like 2/3 of their health in my first swing, and then go to do the second swing, but you're in there with the fucking bow and arrow, like flinging into cunts all over the fucking place, like killing all the dudes before I can get the killing blow on. And somehow at the end, I've done shit tons of damage, but not getting any kills because people are stealing all the kills. It is a stitch up, is what it is. A fucking stitch
My
up.
favorite part was when we finished the first level, and then I did really, really well, and then you were like, fuck you, I'm going to smash you on the next one, and I just destroyed everybody on the next one as well, because I was like, all right, well, I'll start playing properly as well then. Let's go.
And I switched out my rapier because I got this hand axe.
Right.
Like, the only green item I got was a hand axe out of that first one. So I got this hand axe, and it was like I went from going beep, 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 with the rapier to going like chop, chop, and so it also couldn't one shot anyone except for headshots. Anyone can one shot headshots, but Nate kept swinging. And he had like more range. His sword is longer, so he's got more range. So I would run up, and we'd run up together, and he'd swing, and I'd go to head chop someone. And but they'd already be fucking dead, and so I'd just swing and not hit anything. So I had to like run further ahead, and so I was like a fucking step behind doing my chop. And so on the next one, I switched back to the rapier, and I was like chop, 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 chop.
Yeah.
But it was still shorter, so I still had to go further. I could just swing it a bit faster than Nate could, so I could actually get in and do some headshots. But still, holy shit, man! That damage one was fucking bananas to me. I was like, how the fuck? How the fuck? Anyway, it gives you stats at the end of a run, and being competitive dickheads, we were comparing them all. And on that axe run, not only did I not beat you, I didn't beat the bot. I had worse stats than the bot in like, because it adds a fourth character as a bot. I had worse stats than the bot in that second run. Because this axe, I couldn't do anything with it. It was so slow. And yeah, my secondary weapon I changed to this fucking crossbow that like fired pretty slow, but if I like right mouse buttoned on it, it did fire 3 at once.
Yeah.
All that did was piss away all my fucking ammo really fast. And so yeah, I never had any ammo because you were running around grabbing it all.
No, it was the crates actually refill, so anybody can grab them all.
You were grabbing all the incidental between the
Oh, that doesn't
crates.
give you any ammo. That thing.
Yeah, it
like
gives you like three. But when you're running around with like fucking 12 max, three's a quarter of your fucking ammos. Like, I was like, yeah, fucking three, but you're like still fucking hoovering it up. Fucking bang, 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 bang. But yeah, I had good fun. But I was talking about this with Nate the other day.
It was way too easy.
Yeah, way too easy, and it's like gated behind this like gear thing, and I don't know why it has to be gated behind gear. Like, can't we just fucking play without gear? Can't we just play a horde game, or like a Left 4 Dead? Why don't we just fucking play Left 4 Dead?
Well, the difficulty is gated behind the gear.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
like we were having, it was way too easy for us, and we weren't able to turn it up because you needed to have a specific gear score in order to do that. And at that stage, we weren't. Well, I don't know. Like, I think you're selling yourself short a little bit, but you got caught by that creature where it drags you off a lot. Like, you were pretty good at that part. But
thanks.
but like the rest of it, we've breezed through it for the other 3 games that we played.
You got caught by it a lot as well,
No, I that was Nate. I got pounced on once for half a second, and that was it.
Yeah, because I would save you every time it fucking happened.
It happened once.
I'd like it'd be walking up behind you, ready to fucking snare you, and I would like bang, and you'd be like fucking nah, too busy shooting the horde. I'm like fucking saving you cunts.
Meanwhile, Joab's off in the background being dragged away for the 8th time.
Because that was the other stat that I fucking dominated at. I dominated at damage on monsters and specials killed were the 2 fucking things I won, right? Because I was fucking saving you cunts the whole time. And then when I needed saving, where were you guys? Off getting fucking kills. I killed peons that take nothing. I'm fucking doing all this damage, killing all these specials. Fucking absolute stitch up. Anyway, yeah, all I'm saying.
It all.
Oh, I hope so. Chuck it in.
Checking. I did.
Sweet.
Yes.
Good. Good. Put it in. Put it in the chat. Yeah, what I'm pitching is we play, like, why don't we just play Left 4 Dead 2 or something? You know, like, go back to that, see if that works.
Yeah.
See how many people we can get in. Like, because they got rid of they fixed it so it's no longer censored, right? We got uncensored versions from the get-go. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Do we have review versions? I can't remember.
I don't know. But, yeah, like, why don't we just play Left 4 Dead? That's not gated by... I don't know. Maybe it's ugly as sin and we'll immediately return to Vermintide, but at least we can adjust the difficulty to something that will actually be challenging and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But yeah.
I think the other thing that was really weird is there's no like structure to... or maybe we just weren't doing it properly, but there doesn't seem to be any structure of like, this is the first level or the second level. You kind of just hit quick play or play and it just chucks you in somewhere. And I don't even know how it's picking those levels or if we're going to get the same one a second time in a row, or are we playing like the second hardest level, or are we playing like 2 really easy levels? Or...
How are the levels we're playing even from the same, like, because there's a couple of different
like expansions and things.
Like campaigns and stuff as well. Like you know, in Left 4 Dead, you've got like 4 missions in a row that make up one campaign, right? I can't even tell if we're playing like fucking 3 missions from the same campaign. I think we're just playing fucking whatever because they didn't seem to be linked by anything. We just but like it specifically told us we should play quick play. It's like you get better rewards if you play quick play. I'm like, well. We want rewards so we can up the fucking difficulty level. So I guess we'll do that, right? And like, sorry to go back on this, but like, remember when at the end we worked out how to get all those chests from doing achievements, and I got fucking twice as many chests because I killed twice as many fucking specials as you cunts.
No,
Remember that?
I think it was
Remember how
because
I
you
got
bought
that many
expansions or something.
I didn't buy any fucking chests. I didn't buy any fucking expansions. I did more shit. I achieved more. The game recognized that I was
bumping
fucking
your
better
skill
in the
level up a
game.
little bit more because of
That
what
is absolute
in the last
garbage.
3 games. It was like, he needs a bit of help this one. Let's give
We're
him some
doing
purples.
fucking nothing. They're like, this guy is doing everything. We should fucking reward him for his efforts. And you guys did nothing.
It's like,
and as a result, you got
it
fucking
knew it was like,
shit
this is
all.
the Doom guy. We need to give him all the help he can get because he's bad at games.
Bad at shooters. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, I enjoyed it. It seems fun, but it definitely needs a difficulty hike for us.
Yeah.
It was way too easy.
I reckon we install Left 4 Dead 2. We'll check
Yeah,
that out.
yeah, I'm up for that. Let's check that out because that was definitely
Yes.
a tough game.
Because I'm looking, and I've got 4 friends who played recently, including one who played for the first time ever on February 28 on my Steam.
Okay.
So, yeah. Apparently, Left 4 Dead's back.
It's back. All the people that were
Yep.
waiting for 3.
3,
And,
yeah.
hasn't come out yet.
Didn't they confirm it's never coming or some shit? I don't know.
My Google Home is going off.
Oh, yeah. That's what you
Classic.
get.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
What's next? Krunker.
Krunker. Play more Krunker. Krunker's basically a dream game. I don't understand why more people don't know about it. It's crazy. They've got these special servers. I think I was saying this last week with Call of Duty. We're playing Infected in Call of Duty, and it's just crazy how much better the Infected mode in Krunker, a free game you play in your browser, is compared to Call of Duty. It's like it's just bananas to me. Like, I just don't understand. But they've also got these parkour maps, which are sort of like they don't have surfing in Krunker, but they do have these parkour maps remind me a lot of surf maps from
Right.
Counter-Strike back in the day. I don't know if they still do surf maps in
Oh yeah,
Counter-Strike, but
yeah, they're still on.
but yeah, no, these are basically it's about it's just these long maps that like back in on themselves and challenge you to complete like just basically jumping puzzles the entire way through. And then eventually they reach a point where you're like completing insane because there's bunny hopping in Krunker. Like simplistic bunny hopping, but also if you crouch when you exit a jump, you will slide. So there is a technique called, I think it's bunny hop slide, but basically you can pick up a lot of speed by bunny hopping, and at the end of each hop, you crouch for a second as well, because you pick up more speed, and then you continue to pick up speed as you do that. So you can cover insane amounts of distance.
Yeah.
And so eventually you're doing like that. You're doing bunny hop slides to cover giant gaps, while also like what you're landing on is like 3 pixels wide, pressed up against a wall, and you're like fucking sliding along these walls. And it basically feels like Titanfall wall running, except it's not some simplistic fucking you jump at a wall and will automatically wall run. You are doing this shit. Like, it is complex. You are paying a fuck ton of attention to just the movement itself, and it's just good shit. Like, Krunker is utterly free and like has some of the most fucking fascinating level design from community creators in it. I don't know. That's the other game that if I need to take a break for 10 to 15 minutes, I'll pop out some Krunker. I don't play any of the regular game anymore. I just play the special maps and pretty much just parkour or Infected.
Right.
Play some I do play gun game, but I always get banned because people think I'm hacking. Because they're all children. And it literally, it feels like Quake. Like it feels exactly like the movement feels exactly like Quake. So I just fucking bounce around. I just fucking punt cunts. So yeah, I constantly get banned in gun games, but yeah, nobody's banning me in parkour maps because I can't shoot anyone. So yeah.
Right. Have you had a chance to check out the new robot game, first-person shooter, that's very much Quake inspired?
No, the beta went up on the weekend, but I didn't get into the beta, unfortunately. I emailed them, but I know what you're talking about. It's throwing me fucking bananas. Yeah, I had a free weekend. Oh no, a closed beta weekend last weekend, right?
Yep.
That's the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Diabotical.
Yep.
Diabotical. Yep. Yeah. No, I haven't, but I'm very excited to. Very interested to see how it plays.
I watched some Twitch, and it looks like Quake, like the movement and sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm in. But yeah.
Right. Okay, so you went and checked out a bunch, like a suite of games over the week.
I did. Yes. Last Friday, 2 publishers, Devolver and Coke Media, Coke Interact, I don't know, Coke, Cock, I don't know, whatever they're called. They had basically like PAX East showcase days, which I think is a fucking awesome idea.
They did this last year. Well, at least Devolver did last year, and we got to check out a bunch of games before they were available to the public and play them, which is awesome.
It's such a killer idea. So, in order, I went to Cock, whatever. Cock. Went to Cock first. And they had a bunch of games on display. They had Iron Harvest, which is like a company of heroes set in the Scythe universe. Scythe is that board game. I think, did we play, or did I play it with Nate and Katie? I think we played it. So that board game, sort of like steampunky Risk type thing. I don't know. Anyway, it's a cool board game. I've got it in the fucking shelf back there. I don't play it a lot because it's one of those very involved, like passive combat games that I find don't go well with drinking, and I tend to do better with games that go well with drinking. You know. But yeah, Iron Harvest. I didn't get to play this. There were a lot of people, and not as many machines. There were a lot of machines. There were just a fucking lot of people. Yeah, and limited amount of time as well, unfortunately. But it looked fucking awesome. I watched over Alex Walker from Kotaku's shoulder while he played, and I watched Junglist play it a bit as well. And yeah, it looked fucking really cool. Like, just basically what it says on the box. I don't think it is described as Company of Heroes, but in the fucking Scythe universe. But that literally is what I think it is. Like, it just looked exactly like that, and it seemed to fucking work really well. That visual style that Scythe has translates so fucking well into that real-time tactics sort of gameplay. So yeah, it works. It looked fucking cool. I'm actually really excited for that. So there was that, and then there was something else I didn't get to play, and SpongeBob, some SpongeBob remake.
Okay.
I didn't get to play it, so damn. I mean, they asked me if I wanted to play it, and I said no. So I didn't so much not get to play it as much as didn't want to play it. But what I did get to play was Desperados 3.
Wait, sorry. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom.
That sounds right.
Rehydrated.
Rehydrated, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not really my jam. They also had Destroy All Humans
Okay.
remastered there, but I'm not that interested in a remaster of that, I suppose. Desperados 3 though. So Desperados 3 is like I don't even know how to describe these games, Like I always just thought of them as Commandos games.
Yeah.
Because they're basically like Commandos, right? Like you've got it's basically a real-time tactics game where you've only got hero units. I guess is the easiest way to fucking describe it. And so, and they're vaguely linear as opposed to, I guess, the broader gameplay structure of a real-time tactics game that allows you to sort of go very much anywhere. The Commandos games were always a little bit narrower, not too
Like a puzzle
much
game,
narrower.
like
Yeah,
trying to figure
more
out how to get through a specific map.
like the precursor to the XCOM style of game, you know, like very much the precursor. Because I guess the XCOM game, what the XCOM games introduced was a lot of variance, and variance through like giving the capacity to modify your team and stuff like that through the researching and stuff, but also variance through RNG, which didn't really happen in like Commandos and Desperados. If you did an action, it was guaranteed to happen.
Yeah,
type of thing. So yeah, puzzle in that top-down isometric view, puzzle gameplay in that viewpoint. But yeah, Desperados 3, a Western game, and yeah, you like in this, it is so 100% just the puzzle style gameplay where you look at like you sort of take in the field of play and you've got to work out how to approach it the best to make sure everything goes the way you want it to make sure that you can eliminate any threats without taking any any damage yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess this was sort of real close to the start of the game, it felt like, because there was a lot of tutorializing, a lot of hand holding, a lot of breadcrumbing to get you to, and a lot of the first enemies that you ran into were sort of just set up to die in specific ways. It was like, throw the fucking knife or stab this dude, and also you've got to hide him in a bush because someone's going to patrol by, or you've got to hide in a bush and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Teaching you how all the mechanics work, how they can view things, how they'll react to things, how you can lure people, all that kind of stuff. And then I think the section that I sent you in video is sort of directly after it opens up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of little things in there that it was still teaching me, but yeah, basically it seemed like the first level of the game. It plays really well. My absolute favorite thing is that every minute or so, a thing will come up in the top of the screen and it'll be like, it's been 65 seconds since you last autosaved. Maybe you should autosave. It's like, you should quick save.
Yeah, maybe
quick
you
save.
should save.
You should quick save. Unless you want to fuck all this shit up, you should quick save. And it's good. Like, that's a really, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before, but it was, I found it very entertaining because it's definitely one of those games where you do want to quick save quite a bit.
Yeah.
You want to, because A, it gives you the space to experiment a little bit, and B, it also protects you from, goofing up too hard and ruining a bunch of fucking, pissing away a bunch of time. I don't know if the game's going to have like an Iron Man mode type thing that won't allow you to
Most
quick
likely.
save, but I'm 99% sure it will. But yeah, like I don't know. I was quick. I think I loaded once. I tried something. It didn't quite work out. It's mostly just a case of like accounting for everything. Once you account for everything, like as puzzles go, it seems like very broad but shallow. But I'm sure based on Commando's experience, because I didn't play Desperados 1 or 2, I did play Commando's. Based on my Commando's experience, though, it gets deeper as you go in, you know, like the further you go into the game, it'll get deeper. And I think that's what's going to happen with Desperados, you know, just because this is the first level. It was very wide, and so, like, the level was quite wide, and so there was a lot you could fuck up on a broad scale, but there wasn't a lot you could fuck up on a very deep scale, because as long as you accounted for every single person on the map and like maintained an idea of what their vision was, you weren't going to run into a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you got two characters, you direct them in different areas. You can use them both at the same time. Like there are actions you can do to use both of them at the same time, to act simultaneously, that sort of stuff. And yeah, I guess that was about it, really. Like, it was just I don't know, a really good game. It felt really good already. Like, I think the biggest thing that it's going to need to overcome is the story, I guess, because it does feel quite linear. If you're like, if the puzzles don't get deeper later on, then the story will have to be enough to carry you. You know, like the story will be have to be the defining feature that keeps you on path.
Right.
Yeah, if that makes sense. You know, like if the puzzles can't keep you engaged, the story has to do it. I didn't find the storytelling to be all that interesting, but I don't know, it might get better. Puzzles will probably definitely get deeper.
Yep.
And yeah, it all pretty much hinges on that. But I'm very excited to see how it goes. Because yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've played a game like it, and it was felt very nostalgic to go back into it. I'd personally prefer the Commandos, but Desperados, good enough. I'm there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
We've got Carrion,
Which we've talked about before.
We have talked about Carrion before. I wish I was. I thought I had gameplay footage of this that you could have been watching on the YouTube, but unfortunately, I clearly fucked that up and didn't record anything from the Devolver section. Unfortunately, anyway, Carrion. This was just a later build of Carrion. Carrion's the game where you are a monster, and you're roaming through this lab, trying to escape from this lab. It's what's amazing about Carrion is the fucking traversal. Like, it feels like you sort of just move through spaces, and Carrion, like the monster, sort of accommodates for your movement the whole way. And so it feels really good to move around. And then the gameplay aspect comes from like reaching out with your tentacles and then grabbing enemies. And there's this very like this devilishly fucking cool feeling of reaching it, like hiding in a vent and then reaching a tentacle down and grabbing a fucking like machine gunner guy and dragging him up and flinging him into the roof and then flinging him up and down until he's just this fucking pile of blood, and then dragging what's left of him into your mouth to eat him. Like, it's like fucking gross and cool at the same time. It's really fucking, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just an updated build, so there wasn't really a lot else to get from it, but it feels like the game's coming along really well. It definitely feels like a game you're gonna have to play on fucking controller. Uh,
Yeah.
it is that sort of game, like the movement just lends itself to a thumbstick more than WASD
Yeah.
from the outset. But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for it to come out. I'm very much looking forward to that. Then we've got Exit the Gungeon, which came out on Apple Arcade last year.
Okay. Yep.
And it's Enter the Gungeon was a top-down, like, roguelike shooter. This is more of like it's almost a wave-based platform, like, shoot 'em up.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are roguelike elements in it, but basically, yeah, you've got your little dude, and you're jumping from platform to platform on this single screen, and enemies spawn in. You got to kill them, and once you kill them, you go to a different screen, and yeah, you got to exit the Gungeon that way. It's not, Enter the Gungeon. I think there was quite a bit of exploration. I didn't see any of that in Exit the Gungeon. It seems to be more about the shooting gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
But it still seems fun. It just doesn't seem anywhere near as deep as Enter the Gungeon. I guess there might be depth that I wasn't seeing. Me and Nate were playing like Life by Life, super old school. So anytime when you died, you had to hand the controller over. It was a lot of fun. Like, it's a lot of fun in playing that way. I mean, that was more nostalgia shit. Like, just that's how I used to play with my brothers and stuff.
Yeah.
It just worked. It lends itself very well to that sort of style of gameplay. I could see still, like, just playing it on your own, but it didn't feel like it would last. That, I mean, I say that, but my first couple of goes at Enter the Gungeon, I didn't last very long either. So, and then eventually I finished it, and it took me fucking ages. I guess Exit the Gungeon, on the other hand, yeah, I guess I'm sort of, my immediate attitude to it is a little bit more cynical because it is a port of a mobile game, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't look like a port, and it played well on controller. So, just yeah, initial impression type thing. I will very much play it when it comes out to see if it goes. I'd love another. I thought Enter the Gungeon was fucking phenomenal when I played it, so I'd love to see, yeah, more of that style of game.
Yeah.
Then we got Disc Room. Disc Room, I think, was only announced at PAX East, so it was basically announced the day we got to play it. Nobody had any fucking idea of what they were doing, and that was half of the entertainment at Disc Room. But basically, you're a dude, and you're in these rooms, and it sort of reminds me of like those very old school, like room by room games, like Battletoads and stuff, like top down, and you're locked in the room, and then you move to, like, you can move left or up or right, and then, yeah, you make your way through this sort of like maze. Well, the trick of Disc Room is that you unlock doors by dying. So every room, instead of having enemies and you don't shoot or anything, it's got these discs that spawn, and these discs are fucking saw blades that fuck you up, and they'll kill you the moment they hit you. They'll kill you. And Disc Room is sort of a game about dying and also occasionally not dying, and you've got to, like, work out what your objective is in any given room, and then complete that objective. And so, yeah, it might be like die to 11. One of them was literally die to 11 different types of enemies, and it was a crotch punch of a fuck, because you had to work out, like, you had to work out which discs were different, the different discs basically, because you needed, and they weren't like this was 11 enemies or 11 discs across every room you've encountered. It wasn't just the rooms you're in at that moment. It's like go back to other rooms and find 11 different types, and so there's like this cataloging thing going on, but at the same time there are others where it was like survive for 20 seconds, and you're like, okay, I can do that. And then like the discs keep fucking spawning more and more discs, and like shit gets hairy. And do you remember playing Geometry Wars and doing like the pacifism achievement?
Nope. I never did that.
I've fantastic memories of doing pacifism in I think they turned it into a full-blown mode in Geometry Wars 2 or 3.
Yeah, right.
But it feels very much like that. Like you're specifically not trying to kill anything, and at the same time struggling mightily to stay alive. And it feels like your death is an inevitability, and that raises the stakes like significantly higher. And then there's the ticking clock at the same time at the top of the screen, counting towards your goal, and then you die at like fucking 19 seconds and 0.5, and you're like, fuck, gotta go in again, try it again. You do, or you go to a different room and try some other challenge. And I don't know, I love the idea of a fucking pacifism mode game. I think it's a really clever fucking idea.
Yeah.
Because yeah, pacifism was always a very entertaining mode in Geometry Wars to me. Yeah. And then we have
Is it Maneater?
Maneater. Yeah. So Maneater is the shark game of my fucking dreams. It's being made by, well, it's being published by Tripwire. And you're a shark. And I guess the overarching conceit of the game is that's like a documentary series about sharks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's narrated by Chris Parnell, who is Jerry from Rick and Morty, or Cyril Figgis from Archer. And yeah, he just, sort of talks about shark things.
Right.
But at the same time, he also like meta-narratively justifies things you're doing. Like he'll be like, oh, and the shark decided to return to its home base again for some reason. The shark just left its home base, but it's back again. Stuff like that. And also it'll be like, even though sharks don't usually leap out of the water, this shark has decided to do exactly that, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they use that, I guess, to sort of hand wave away a lot of the goofier stuff. I feel like it's a game that has actually a lot of respect for sharks. They just know that nobody wants to play a shark game where you don't eat a lot of fucking people. So they'll be like, even though sharks usually wouldn't eat a human, this shark appears to very much want to devour as many as it can.
Right.
And it sort of just does that sort of chatter to sort of narratively justify what you're doing, but also like puts it back on the player a little bit. It's like sharks don't eat people. This shark is making different decisions, and so it places it at the feet of the player, which I think is a good plan to stave off what I'm sure will be at some point criticism that it will receive for showcasing sharks in a negative light. Because I think that was a concern that I had when it was first announced, that sort of at the back of my head, I don't know if sharks need more bad press, right? But if you set it up as a goof and present it as a bit of a, it's silly. Sharks don't really do this, and if you remind people of that, I think you can get away with it and still have a game that is, fun and goofy and interesting.
Yeah. It's a video game.
It's a video game, yeah. So yeah, you play as a shark. You shark it up. You just shark about. You start out as this, as like a big shark, and they give you an opportunity to experience the full big shark experience,
Right.
before then, like putting you all the way back down to a baby shark.
Before taking your powers away.
Yeah. One thing I think that they didn't do very well was give you incentivize you to experience the breadth of, because they talked about, they did like a presentation before we played it, and they talked about how the combat was actually very deep, and you had these combinations of abilities. You could tail flick to attack things, and you could chomp, and you could also like grab things and then tail flick them at other things as a sort of like fucking ranged attack.
Yeah.
Which was hyper amusing, but goofy as all shit. But like they didn't do a good job of justifying why you would need to do all that stuff. Like it never felt necessary to do anything but chomp shit. And then when you get reset to being a baby shark, you don't even have the tail whip for like a fair amount of time. Like until you level up for the first time, you don't even unlock tail whip. So you are literally just chomping shit. And so there's that. Yeah, I felt like what they should have done is basically directly like giving you opportunities against enemies to see how deep the combat is, because I think what I played made the combat feel quite shallow. At that said, it didn't really matter to me all that much, because it doesn't feel like a game where you need deep combat. It feels like a game where like just sort of sharking about and exploring the region is pretty much enough. I think you had to like eat 20 catfish at one point, and I think you needed to do that 2 more times to lure out the apex predator of the region. I don't think I need to eat 60 fucking catfish, if I'm being frank. I don't know if that's some sort of stat related thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, 60 is too high a number. Like you can easily chop that in half. It might be 30. I don't know. But yeah, like it just felt like I was eating too many fucking catfish. I spent a lot of time eating catfish.
Well, maybe it's supposed to be a thing that is organically happening as you're doing other missions. In the game.
No, they're in specific areas. That's the thing, right? Like it's not like you see a catfish and you eat it. It's like go to this area and eat all the fucking catfish.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it was just a bit off. Yeah. So that was a bit off, but otherwise, like I actually found it to be very zen. Like just swimming around with my fin out of the water, like my dorsal fin out of the water, just sharking about through the fucking water. Just found it, very zen, very fucking cool. Yeah. Okay.
So you describing it, my one concern about it is this narration thing that's happening, whether or not that's going to become old very quickly, like hearing the same thing over and over again. Like if there's a way.
No, I never heard him repeat himself.
Right. Yeah, but you didn't play it for 15 or 20 hours, right? Like at what stage are you playing this game and you're like, I've heard this thing like 8 times, so just let me switch it off? Or
yeah, that's fair. Like ideally there were long periods where he just wasn't saying anything.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Like if they restrict it to the first time you do something, like a semi achievement type thing, like a checkpoint, then that'll be good. If it happens every time, like the first time you go to your safe space, safe haven, and then when you return to that safe haven, he has a line for that, and maybe like the 20th time, but otherwise I don't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing to get right. Hopefully they thought of that.
But yeah, from my experience, it was just entertaining.
Yeah.
And like a weird thing for Chris Parnell to be doing, I thought.
Yep.
Like, seems like a weird role for him, but yeah. Anyway,
does it have a date yet?
I don't think so. I should know, eh?
No. It looks like it had a date of 2019 and got pushed back. It says here 2020, May.
It says what? It says it's by Daryl Hall and John Oates, and it's quite old.
Okay.
Yep. It was covered though by Nelly Furtado.
Maneater.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you not know the song?
According to my Google, the game it came out on their 11th studio album, H2O, in 1982.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, that was that. Maneater.
Nice.
It's cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks interesting. All right. Yep. So that was everything you saw.
No, yes, that was everything I saw
That you
on
talked
those 2 days. On that day. Yep. No, just everything. Just everything in general.
So I think the last one I've got on here is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which demo dropped for this on the PlayStation Store. Did you get a chance to play the demo? Sorry, the preview session they had?
No.
No. Okay.
I did not.
I was scheduled to play this, I think in January. What month is it now? It's March. Or maybe last month. I was supposed to go check it out. They ended up bumping it back because they pushed the release date for this back a month, and so that preview event ended up getting cancelled. And it sounds like it was last week maybe, where people got about 3 hours hands-on with the game, and that's not what is in the demo. The demo is about an hour.
Right.
But yeah, did you play it or not?
No.
No.
I don't want to play it.
The original.
I just want to play. Yeah, of course. Yeah, if I'm gonna play the remake, I'm just gonna play it when it comes out eventually, whenever the fuck that is, and I'm just gonna experience it afresh. I don't want to play. Just how many times do I have to fucking run through the same fucking train bit? I assume it's the train bit at the start, like, and then it goes in the fucking power plant. Like, come on.
So I didn't.
Times I want to do that.
I don't have an attachment to the Final Fantasy VII game at all. I didn't really play a lot of it. I think I played a demo maybe one stage. I really came on board around about 8 is when I jumped in. Because when did it come out on the PlayStation 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I never had a PlayStation 1. I jumped into PlayStation in the 2 era.
Well, that would have been 10. Because 8 and 9 were both on the PS1 as well.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Oh, no. You know what it would have been? Backwards compatibility then.
Right.
That's what it would have been. Okay.
And so, did you play 9?
I played 8, and was 9 the one with the furry kids?
Yep.
Yeah, I played that one.
So you played 2 of the worst and skipped over the one everyone fucking loves.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Cool.
I liked 8.
Interesting.
8 was the one with the
dancing, gun swords.
Gun swords, yeah.
You could fight a T-Rex right at the start and break the entire game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one was the one with the space soccer?
10.
Was it
Blitzball.
10? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so I don't have a huge attachment to 7.
Sure.
Jumped into this one, the demo. Yeah, as I said, it's about an hour. It starts off with the train sequence, ends when you leave. There's like a boss battle, and then you're trying to escape the power plant, like you said. That's the sequence. It's not super long. I guess the biggest change they've got in here is the combat is completely overhauled. It's no longer a choosing spells or attacks and then attacking something, like sort of a time-based, like a not a time-based, where you take turns, turn-based combat. It's happening in real time. You are attacking people with your item, your sword, whatever it is. Very similar to like a Kingdom Hearts sort of combat system, where you hit things and then you build up enough magic points or MP, not magic points, meter, and then you can use that meter to
limit break.
Yeah, do specific spells. Well, no, there's limit break is like another meter on top of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And so yeah, you can wail on things with your sword and then be like, oh, I've got enough to do a special attack, and you use that, and then you can eventually like stagger certain enemies, and then when they're staggered, they're sort of like stunned, and that does even more damage to them. And that comes into effect a bit later on when you're fighting the big boss battles that take a long time to do. Like you kind of want to figure out how to stagger them using certain abilities, like, oh, this one is immune to, or it takes a lot of damage when you use the lightning attacks, and that builds up the stagger meter a lot quickly, and then you can stagger it and then start just smashing this thing completely. So it's a lot about like working what the weaknesses are on specific enemies and then sort of exploiting that. Yeah, and so the game looks extremely pretty. It's doing that Final Fantasy thing where it sort of blends the CG into the game. So you watch the cutscene of like the train coming in and Cloud on top of the train, and then it sort of like cuts to this is the game sequence, and off you're running and all. So it looks very, very pretty. I do like the combat. Like I said, it's very similar to the Kingdom Hearts thing, but I think it is a bit more strategic. Like you've got to think about the fights a little bit more. Like Kingdom Hearts is very your button mash, and then you press the spell ability, and you get all these different spells, and you can kind of pick the one you want. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, but this one is more like, all right, I actually got to think about what I want to do here. And when you do decide to pick one of these spells, you basically hit like the command menu, and it sort of slows the game down into, it's not necessarily paused it, but it's really, really slow. So there's still stuff slowly happening in the background, but for the most part, you can sort of sit there and think about, all right, what do I want to do next? And then you can think about, all right, do I want to cast this spell, or do I want to tell my party member to attack this specific creature or thing over here and cast this spell? And so you can switch between other characters, and some of them have different abilities. So Barrett is a range specialist, and there are certain enemies in this particular demo that you can only attack using him because they're up high, and he's the one with the machine gun hands, who's able to take those enemies at range. And so it sort of incentivizes you to switch between them backwards and forwards.
That's what I call him. Machine gun hands.
Machine gun hands. So I think combat works pretty well. Looks pretty. The dialogue is terrible. It's extremely cheesy. And the voice acting is about what I'd expect from this character. He just sounds whiny. Is he supposed to be whiny?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
they're all whiny.
They've nailed that completely.
It's crazy that you're coming off Kingdom Hearts and you still thought that, though. Like, shit.
Yeah. They're the same character, aren't they? I think they're the same character.
Yeah.
Basically.
They've just been remaking the same game 16 times for fucking decade. Forever. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing about this is it's not like they haven't gone in and upped the visuals. Like, it's not a remaster of Final Fantasy. It's the remake. They're doing the Resident Evil thing where they've gone in and overhauled like everything in there. And so the combat is completely new. And I think people will dig it. It's hard to say what like the purists will think about the combat, but I think they'll like it because it's not too different to, I guess, the original game, like the choosing your spells and attacks and that sort of thing. But it's it's close enough. That still makes it more action, brings it up to date. So that's kind of cool. And the soundtrack sounds amazing. Like, as someone who has not played Final Fantasy, you sort of hear the inklings about like the combat music will kick in. So that stuff sounds really good. And the only concern that I have about this is, and I'm not sure if people are aware of it, as much as a sort of mainstream sort of thing, is that this isn't called Final Fantasy Remake Part 1 or anything. They've been very coy about the fact that this is Part 1 of, I don't even know, parts, Part 2, Part 3. And I think that's fucking dodgy at the moment. Yeah, it's extremely dodgy.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, again, if people don't know that listen to this is it's going to be split up into certain sections.
Yeah.
And so they're working on the first part, which is this game, and then a second one will be released at some other stage, which will continue the story of Final Fantasy VII. So I don't know where that's going to sort of end. Because because I don't know the story of Final Fantasy VII. I don't know what where they could stop it or cut it in half or...
When the Flower Girl dies, that's when they'll fucking stop it, I reckon.
Yeah, see, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But like the appeal, the genius of Final Fantasy to me was that it was all this one package. This was this one giant package that you got. It was because we, we'd pool our money to buy a game.
Yeah.
For the PlayStation, and Final Fantasy was one of those games that we pooled to buy for. That I actually voted pretty heavily against the purchase. I did not think it was going to be a very good, a very worthwhile purchase.
Right.
Because I didn't see how we could all play it together. It didn't really make sense to me from that perspective. But it was my brother's turn to pick. So he picked this one, and I couldn't really go against him. And it wound up being, obviously, from my perspective, a genius pick because it was we got hundreds of hours of gameplay out of it. Hundreds. It was, for time to value to money, it was absolutely worth the effort.
Right.
Worth the money.
But why? Is it because you're playing it through once and then playing a second time, or...?
No, because of the sheer amount of shit you wound up being able to do in this one fucking playthrough. From a fucking narrative perspective, it was a fucking nightmare. There's this meteor bearing down on the fucking planet, and me and my brothers will spend fucking 3 weeks trying to breed the perfect fucking chocobo. But we're well, yeah, I guess we're all gonna die, but I think I know how to make a fucking black Chocobo, and then we're one step closer to a gold Chocobo. And, from, a narrative perspective, absolute idiocy. But, otherwise, or, we're fucking snowboarding, we're finding new place to go snowboarding and shit. And you're like, I can't believe this game has all this shit. This is fucking amazing. But, yeah. It was the sheer amount. If we were to jump back in time or jump ourselves forward in time rather, and me and my brothers pull our money together and then go down to, I think it was Mr. Toy's Toy World, to go buy the latest PlayStation 4 game, and my brother votes for Final Fantasy VII Part 1, we would get a fucking quarter of the same experience for the same money, and it just leaves me with a sour taste in my fucking mouth, Yeah, I don't know. I'm very much not about the idea of them doing that.
Yeah, I don't think do we know if it's going to be 2 parts or more than that?
I think it's 3. I've heard 3.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's the marketing, the name of it is very dodgy. Yeah. By putting it out as Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then potentially having this, I don't know, cliffhanger at the end and being final, and then part 2 will come later on, or chapter 2, or whatever they want to call it. People thinking they're buying a full product and because it's going to be a full price game. And again, I don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe it is a mainline 30-hour experience. Maybe there's more in there that they've put in that's not necessarily from the original game. But I think it's either going to backfire on them extremely hard, when people get their hands on it and they're like, what the fuck? We're like, where's the rest of this game? Why is it a 10-hour experience? Or it could be, a 50-hour experience still, with a lot of content in there. So I think it's gonna be tricky for them. But hopefully they know what they're doing. Like the Resident Evil stuff, I know it's different sort of companies, but they've done pretty good with that sort of thing.
It's a pretty big difference because they added they put even more than what Resident Evil 2 had in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like, as somebody who is not affiliated with Final Fantasy VII as much as other people, I'm definitely keen to check this out next month when it drops.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, looks great.
Cool.
All right. That's it.
One last game.
Oh, there's one more.
Yeah, you missed it. Gloomhaven.
Oh, okay.
Played Gloomhaven on the weekend. Me and the boys playing some Gloomhaven. Got through another 2 scenarios. The only real problem I have with the rate at which we play Gloomhaven is the rate at which we play Gloomhaven, because we're playing like 2 scenarios every month.
Yeah.
And there's 100 scenarios,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
we're probably never gonna fucking come close.
Gloomhaven 3 will be out by the time we finish.
Basically. No, I still enjoy my time with it. I said it last time. I think this, like, if this was a video game, it would not be as highly rated as it is, but it is a fascinating exercise in like managing to make everything work together so well in Gloomhaven in a way that is largely unambiguous. There are a few rules, a few like things where it will say something and you won't be 100% certain as to what that means.
Yeah.
One thing I'm thinking of is Nate. Like, we all decided, I don't know if we all went away and read stuff or what. I went away and read, how the fuck am I supposed to play this game and not die every fucking round? And what my main takeaway was, it doesn't matter if you die in a dungeon. You don't die, you just become exhausted. And as long as like one person in the party is not exhausted, you're A-okay. But so I like, because my character starts with way less cards than everyone else. And when you run out of cards, you're donezo, like you're exhausted. So my takeaway was, I think I'm fucked. I just don't know how I'm supposed to fucking last through these games. Turns out it doesn't matter, as long as someone else is there to do it. So yeah, that was my takeaway from reading into what I should be doing better at Gloomhaven. But it seems like either Nate landed on it organically or he read it, but his character is a tank and he started tanking. And so the last session, so not this session, last session, we did some extra reading of the rules and realized we'd been playing wrong and actually been playing on vaguely easy mode.
Okay.
In the sense that anything in this game could be easy. But yeah, we've been using these decks that were technically the upgraded decks, like upgraded versions of our decks. And we're supposed to be using these very much not upgraded versions of those decks, the shitty versions. So we reverted to the shitty versions, but we still went okay because everyone was playing their roles better. And so Nate was playing as a tank and literally just standing and fucking taking damage while the rest of us fucked shit up. And it was like, it worked out way better. I did exhaust by the end of both scenarios. I was talking about, so Nate's playing as a tank and he had this card that said when he takes damage, he was to gain 1 armor. And everyone else, like, the reason we got into this is because we were facing off against these flame demons who had like 4 armor, I think it was 4 armor, and armor negates 1 damage, right? So to do any damage at all, you had to do 5 damage on these dudes. And 5 damage is actually a fucking lot of damage. That one hits a lot of fucking enemies. And that was just to do 1 on these cuts. And yeah, so it was pretty tricky. And I believe they had like ranged retaliation as well, which was meant that you would, if you were within 2 squares and you did this damage, you would take 2 damage as well.
Yeah.
So you were actively like if you were like Nate, if you were like trying to whack on him from fucking in their face because he's all melee, you were just eating shit, right?
Yeah, you're damaging yourself.
Yeah. So like we drew them, we brought them into the fucking game world, and we're like, what the fuck are we supposed to do here? And so I just googled Gloomhaven Flame Demon or something like that, right? And the first thing that popped up was, what's the worst character? What's the worst enemy in the game? Like the immediate, like that is what comes up when you fucking Google these fucking dudes. Is the fucking top answer for what's the worst answer, worst enemy in the fucking level 1 of the game or whatever. Like survey says, flame demons can go get fucked. So we were racking our brains what we were trying to, what we were supposed to do. We worked it out. We worked out that we had options. Obviously, I can attack from a fair way away, and I can do a lot of damage from a fair way away. But like I burn the card. You've got like you can either discard a card or burn a card, and once a card is burned, you don't get it back. Right, and so it winds up being like, if you don't want to exhaust, you've got like there's some very fucking careful card management going on, right? My guy just fucking burns cards. He's only got 8 cards, and all his good shit is on burns, but he has 1 card that he can burn to get back all the other burn cards. So you can sort of manage around that to get twice the turns, but at the same time, all the good shit you do is burn. So you've got to fucking deal with that. There's a lot of like card management in there. So I can like fucking womp cunts, but it costs me. It basically exhausts me. So we had to we were managing around that. Nate worked out that like if they can retaliate and it doesn't affect armor, like it doesn't take into account armor, then he can do the same thing. So he put on retaliate, and then he was doing damage that way. So we had that. We had wound. I had a effect that did wound, so we managed to do a wound on one of them, which took them down a bit. But at the end of the day, we couldn't work it out, and because they had so much armor, we were trying to work out. Nate was able to theoretically build up 6 armor, but there was an interpretation of the card that said that he just had 1 armor for that turn. So instead of building 1 armor and then onto 2 armor and then onto 3 armor, he would build 1 armor for that turn, it would go away, and then he'd build an armor again. Right. And that's how you read the card. If you look up that card, like it's a fucking flame war. Like people are fucking like rioting in the streets over which interpretation you're supposed to use, and you fight against something like the fucking flame demon. You're like, well, it must be the version where you get 6 armor, right? Because what the fuck else? But you fight against the like most of the other shit, and it's too that's pretty wild. It's pretty bananas. So we wound up doing the base version where you only got 1 per turn. I still don't know how it's actually supposed to play out. It's tricky. We completed the scenario. I had a fucking proper dummy spit because I used my advantage. Like I was on this fucking, I could kill the last thing that I needed to kill in this room. And I used like everything to make sure it would go down. And I used advantage. I have these goggles that give me advantage. And advantage allows you to draw 2 modifiers. And so when you do an attack, you draw a modifier card, and that will impact how hard it hits. And all I needed, right? You've got like fucking, I think it's 4 -1s in this like 20 stack, and 1 miss. And all I needed was one of the fucking 10 zeros to show up, one of the 5+1s, or one of the 3+2s to show up. That's all I needed. And I drew on advantage. I drew 2 cards, and I could pick from the best. I drew a -1 or a miss, and the -1 meant that I didn't break through the fucking armor of these cunts, and so they didn't die. And so I wasted an entire turn. I burned my best shit, and I was fucking, how the fuck? But going back to the round previous, we like through some clever fucking work as a team. And bear in mind that in Gloomhaven, you're not supposed to like specifically like, you don't like, I'll do this, I will fucking shoot this dude in the head and then fucking leap back 3 spaces and grab the gold, right? You're supposed to, when you describe what you're doing, you say, I'm going medium fast, and I am going to move and shoot, or I'm going to shoot and move, or I'm going to loot, or I'm going to explode cunts, or I'm going to go and get the chest, or whatever, right? You've got to be pretty vague, right? Like, go and get the chest is probably as specific as you can be. So through, like, just sort of working shit out, like, as a team and working as a team, we managed to, Nate, like, leapt in, kicked this dude, this dude who had this weird ability to explode on death, and anyone in a radius around him would take 2 damage. So he leapt in, kicked this dude back 1 space, where he exploded on death, and then that took like 2 damage off all the people around him. And then I jumped in, and we were like on our last breaths as well. Like, we were going to come real close to failing this fucking mission. Unless I could do enough damage to kill, I think they were wind demons, fart demons, I was calling them. And so I fucking jump in, cast this fucking spell, and it did an area effect. And so it did its base damage, and like two of the demons I think were on full health. And then I flipped my bonus card, and it was a double damage. So I did double damage, which took took the wind demons down to 1 health, and it killed the cultist in the middle of them who was exploding on death. And so he exploded on death, and that's it. They all died. Like, that took out the rest of them, which was fucking awesome. That was such a fucking cool moment. And that, like, yeah, I just had to, like, that was basically what killed the Tanty for me. The fucking, I'm missing a fucking -1, was the remembering that I had also flipped the fucking double damage that essentially won us the fucking mission. Because after that, there was like one unit, like 1 character still alive. And so Nate, with like this unit couldn't do any damage to Nate. Like, just flat out couldn't do enough damage to actually, unless it got even if it got like a double damage, it still wouldn't do enough, because Nate had this helmet that negates any double damage. So he just stood there in front of this thing and did nothing, while the other guys like ran around and grabbed all the loot from the fucking room. Because as soon as the last enemy dies, that's it, apparently. Like, you don't have the opportunity to go loot anymore.
Right.
Which I find pretty weird, but it's apparently the rules of the game. And yeah, so they ran around and fucking did that. And then I exhausted myself on that fucking explosion thing, but it didn't matter. We got all the loot, and we walked away pretty clean, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Does that stuff carry over to the next time, or you just pretty much start again?
What do you mean?
Like the stuff that you get, the loot.
Oh yeah, all the loot is stuff you take with you. So we go back to town and we can like, one of the treasure chests I opened had this like summoned skeleton ring in it. So we can go buy that skeleton ring. It costs 50 gold, so we needed all the extra gold we could get, so we can make sure that we could get that and like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it all carries over. Everything carries over. Exhaustion doesn't really matter, provided one person is still up at the end, like when the last enemy dies, or when it's not when the enemy dies, it's when the goal of the like dungeon is complete. And so the goal of this dungeon was kill all enemies, and as soon as that goal is complete, that's it. And yeah, you take it all with you. It's a really cool game. It feels a little RNG heavy at times, but a lot of the time you are just managing around the RNG in a way that feels pretty good. And yeah, just that passive collaboration without like specifically working out what you're going to do is such a cool fucking feeling when it all works, when a plan comes together. Yeah.
Nice.
That's it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, were the two games very? Because you said you played two, right? Two campaigns. Are they very like different from each other, or do they lead on from one each other, or
these two led on from one another?
Yeah.
So yeah, we were in one room. We killed a bunch of cultists and they'd summoned some demons, and then we had a choice. We could go down one route where we could I think we would help the cultists to clear their basement of some skeletons, or we could go down the other route where we shut down the fucking cultists who were trying to summon more fucking demons. We went down shut down the cultists thing. Yeah, we've got like it all builds on from one thing to another. You open up more stuff and more areas to go to, more missions to accomplish and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very cool.
Nice. All right, I think that's everything.
Yep.
Should we do some news?
Let's do it.
Not a lot here, but there's some stuff. GDC has been postponed.
Yes.
It's supposed to take place this month. And after a lot of publishers and developers pulling out of the event due to coronavirus, the organizers decided to postpone it until potentially sometime in the summer over here in the US, which is a few months, like between 3 to 6 months from now. At this stage, that's what they're going with. So yeah, there was a lot of sort of developers and publishers pulling out over the last like 10 days or so, and it got to a point where they were kind of forced to do this. So there's some good things out of this, is that like they're not going to be less risk for the health issues, but at the same time a lot of people have spent a ton of money to try and get over here, to get all their stuff over here, and that's stuff that they're not going to get back. Like, I don't know about you, but when I book trips, I don't usually get the insurance one where it's like, you can cancel the thing at any time, because usually a lot more expensive, unless you're specifically working for a giant company. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're some indie dev, like scraping together enough money to get over to GDC, this would be one hell of a fucking crotch punch.
Yeah.
Like, this would be some devastating shit. Yeah.
But in saying that, there's some funds going together at the moment to try and reimburse people. So the community has gotten together to try and do that, which is cool. But yeah, this stuff is causing a lot of issues. I've had work cancelled because of this. Like, I was going to events at GDC that has now been cancelled at this stage. They're trying to figure out what to do in replace of that. E3 is, I've got other events lined up as well past that, and I don't know if they're going to go ahead at all. E3 is still a maybe at this stage. I saw a statement out today that they're still considering it, because apparently LA has considered it a health risk.
Like they're reconsidering it again.
I feel like it's not going to happen at this stage. it's when is E3 in June?
Yeah.
I think it'll start forcing their hand a little bit. Like when developers start pulling out, that's going to cause some issues. They're probably going to happen. I don't think it's going to go ahead. It's just 3 months from now.
Yep.
And
no, I don't think so.
I think in some capacity it's still going to happen with some of the major publishers doing something around then with their own live streams, your Microsoft, your Xbox events, your Bethesda, that sort of stuff. But E3 in general, as a consumer event, what that ends up looking like, I don't think will be the E3 we've sort of expected the last couple of years. I think it's going to disappear this year and possibly not come back.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's happening this year. I was already waning as it was. It was already in its twilight years. I don't think it can recover after this. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know if you saw the news today. Even the movie industry has been hit by it, with the first big movie of this year being pushed back. The new James Bond has been postponed by a long time. It's been moved from, is it this month till November? Something like that?
November, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how far back, but yeah. It's been pushed. There were fucking trailers for it yesterday. I think fucking didn't like tickets go on sale? Like fucking hell. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bananas. I guess we're gonna see more and more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting.
I think we mentioned this previously, but what happens leading up to the end of the year with the PlayStation and the new Xbox coming out? How much is that going to be affected by this? With a lot of the production being done out of places like China.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a tough year for games, everywhere, but games as well. We're going to see it be affected pretty badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we've got the Valve Index is supposedly going to be back in stock March 9th, which is the start of next week. The Valve Index has been out of stock for a long time now. Months at this stage. I don't know how many times I've looked to try and see when it was coming back. I was looking for articles. I think it was yesterday when they dropped a bunch of new trailers recently. Yep. And I was like, I wonder if the Valve Index is back in stock. And it was a lot of articles of people being like, it's still not in stock. We don't know when it's going to be in stock. Valve hasn't said anything. And then today they said it's going to be back in stock. I assume. I don't know. I haven't read it. I think you wrote this. Or did I write this?
You wrote this.
I can't remember. Didn't read the article though. So
nice.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. They reckon it's going to be sold out by Monday, and like good fucking luck, cunts. It's not coming to Australia, so they're not even going to bother trying to sell it in Australia. They've got such limited stock. Yeah.
Which is tough, man, because this is their tentpole release for the VR hardware. Like, it's probably the biggest VR release in terms of gaming ever so far. Yeah. And the company who's making the hardware for this, or that's putting out the hardware for this, doesn't have stock for it.
Yeah.
It's gonna, it's insane.
And Oculus has stock, so people are just buying Oculuses.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's not a lot of like Oculus doing the hands, the finger registration thing that they're doing. There's just so many devices out there that have different specs, and it's hard to sort of be like, all right, what's the best one? So yeah, it's tough. Anyway, hopefully people that want it will get it. What I don't want to see happen is these things sell out and then they end up on like eBay for 3 times as much or something like that. Hopefully they've got something in place to stop that, and it's not just a first come first serve type dealio. Put a limit on how many you can buy. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, would hope.
all right, and the last piece of news we've got is Riot showed off their first-person shooter Valorant, which is a 5 versus 5 like tactical shooter inspired by Counter-Strike and like the hero shooter genre.
Yep.
They've released it was a gameplay test session with like one round of it, I guess, with people playing.
Sort of, yeah. Basically, yeah, one round. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm not sold on this. Nothing really appeals to me. It seems like a weird mix between those two things I spoke about. And I don't like what they're doing with the hero stuff. Like, it doesn't look interesting to me at all.
I think it looks kind of ugly, but otherwise, I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I don't want to be fucking blapped through smoke because someone has Hanzo's wall or pinging ability, but I'm sure that's something that they can tweak over time. Like, it just seems like one of those things where they need to like tone that specific thing down a little bit so that it's a little less effective. Because yeah, the way it worked, right, reminded me a lot of Lion when he was first like revealed
in Rainbow
where
Six. Yeah.
In Rainbow Six Siege, like you if anyone moved, you could see their entire outline. You just fucking cram them, right? But if it worked a bit more like Lion does now, where you just got that moving icon, a la Jackal type thing, like I think that would be a lot better. That would be because it wouldn't, you wouldn't be able to line someone's fucking head up through smoke when they couldn't see you at all. But like that's just stuff that needs to be fucking like worked on over time. Like that's why you have betas and stuff, I guess. You know, like Lion released the way he did, and they toned him down. There's no reason that they can't do the same for this. I'm sure there's all, like you buy all your abilities and stuff in Valorant, so I'm sure there's like a balancing act there as well. Like people aren't necessarily running into every round with every fucking ability. There's an economy about it that needs to be managed as well as the abilities. So yeah, like I think that raises the complexity a bit as well. I just wonder whether it's going to be too complex for people to understand.
Yeah. Like when I look at it, I don't see myself going away from a game like Rainbow Six because it's sort of trying to be a thing in between by having these over the top powers. Like it looks like an Overwatch, but and a Counter-Strike had a baby, and we're like, all right, this is what we've got. I just don't think it looks pretty. I don't like those weird wall things that they're doing with like the green and red textures. It just looks, I don't know what that is. And then like the weird gas things they've got going on, like you walk through and there's just someone sitting in it. Like that stuff, that was the first trailer they put out, and this thing's supposed to be out in the next 3 to 6 months.
It's not a trailer. It was like literally just an alpha gameplay. It wasn't a trailer. It was just fucking.
Yeah, but that's the first experience
around from the game. Yeah, well, like fucking. They got plenty of time, and they got.
They have 3 months. This game is coming out in 3 months, 3 to 6 months. Time. That is not plenty of time. Oh, it's gonna come out. It's gonna be a turd. I'm telling you.
It's gonna come out. What? Sorry.
It's gonna be a turd. Looks like
a turd. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see.
Yeah.
A turd that fucking a billion people will play.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's a fucking Riot game.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, Valve's card game died in the arse, so still a chance.
Yeah. We'll see.
Still a chance. Anyway, that's the news. That is everything that we can think of at this time being. So let's wrap things up. You can find us, The Gap, on iTunes, Android. Questions? I say questions.
Yeah, of course it's questions.
Oh.
Not of course. I mean, they weren't the other time. But anyway. Our boy Dongass. Dongass says, howdy, Luke and Jobula One. A few for you today. Do you think we will ever see another big MMO like World of Warcraft? Or has the door well and truly closed? Shall we start with that? Because he says there's a few. I think Amazon is working really hard on their version of the next one, but I think it's going to struggle to capture people's imagination quite the same way that World of Warcraft did. because World of Warcraft is so effortlessly dominating. Like it is, if we go back to the language of video games that I always like to go to, like people understand, people are fluent in the language of World of Warcraft, and so the risk that any MMO runs into these days is straying too far away from that language. You got to evolve it enough. Are you trying to put your lights?
I'm being scanned.
You're trying to be fluent and remain similar enough that people who are fluent understand what they're doing. The nuts of it is that people just fucking get World of Warcraft. They came out of the gate with something that just made a lot of sense to people. They nailed a lot of things right from the get-go, and they've refined it ever since in ways that a lot of people maybe necessarily didn't love, but a lot of people still do. There's still fucking how many players? 6 million players of World of Warcraft. I don't know if you ever have a game that has that sort of, I don't know, impact again, right? That's a crazy amount of people outside of the MOBAs. But look at how hard it's been for people to play, to get that many fucking to get a new MOBA out of the fucking gate, right? It's just bananas. It's so overwhelming. It's definitely, you need it's sort of like the games that could challenge Counter-Strike or Dota on fucking Steam, right? What did a game need to do to challenge Dota or Counter-Strike on Steam? It basically needed to invent an entirely new genre. Right? That's how PUBG did it.
And it hasn't stuck around.
And it didn't manage to maintain it. Yeah.
If anything, Counter-Strike is growing in popularity now.
Yeah. You would need to basically reinvent the MMO. I don't know if Amazon is doing that. The other thing is that it's such an overwhelming fucking task because it needs to be so fucking huge to capture the imagination of so many people. But yeah, it's such a fucking broad and imposing task that I don't know if the risk to reward is ever going to be worth it. I think World of Warcraft is basically
there's stuff out there like your Destinies and
Destiny
2.
Destiny is probably or Warframe or whatever version of that loot shooter you want to play is probably the closest we will come to the next World of Warcraft. It's smaller scale, so it's easier to iterate on, I guess. But yeah, otherwise, I don't know. I don't think we will. I don't think people are even trying anymore, except for Amazon.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I mean, Blizzard isn't even trying at this stage to make a new one. They gave up, right? And they didn't go ahead with it. Overwatch basically got turned into whatever that game was. Was it Titan? What's it called? Titan?
Project Titan. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Good one. All right. Also, who would win a foot race between all the Gap hosts, both former and current?
I think Heath.
Wow. You reckon Heath?
Maybe Heath. Only because he likes racing games.
I blitzed Heath in fucking high school.
Oh,
Fuck
okay.
that
Well,
shit.
then it's me.
Then it's you. You reckon you can beat me, motherfucker? I don't fucking think so. It's we only said foot race.
We have done the zombie Z-Town, and yes, it is me. It's me every time.
How the fuck do you? What? Because you can hide better. That's not a fucking running race. That's not a fucking foot race. Get the fuck out of here.
Undefeated winner.
Hiding isn't running. You're shit at running. You're so shit at running that you didn't even fucking run. You just hid. That's fucking crazy. That's bananas. And also, in one of those, I don't know if I never got the video footage, but there was footage of me running down Dave Cheng like a fucking lion on the fucking plains of the Serengeti, and he was some fucking idiot warthog hanging out in the fucking middle of things. And I fucking sprinted down this hill from 100 meters away, and I fucking slapped his fucking ankles, and he missed every shot. It was fucking spectacular, and everyone who watched it knew it was spectacular, and they'd never seen anyone move that fast, because I'm the fucking Flash. Me and D Wade, same nickname, Flash. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it would be me. Okay? It'd be me. Okay, dong ass? Thank you. Also, Joab, how dare you pronounce my name? I was calling him dong ass because he renamed himself to Dangaz on our Discord, but I feel like I've goofed. I've notified the podcast bureau, and they want me to replace you as the resident Jack and Daxter ambassador.
Oh,
See you in court, dong ass. That's I played so much Ratchet and Clank to earn the title of Jack and Daxter ambassador, and I will not let you fucking take it from me. I will see you in court. We've got so much Patreon money now. I'm going to use it all on legal fees. So yeah, we'll see who sees who in court, motherfucker. Good questions, dong ass.
Right.
I liked it.
There you go. That was good stuff.
Yep.
All right. You can find Ask the Gap on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, all those places. You can find us on the Gap or the GA Podcast or the Gap Podcast. Type it in, should come up. Please rate and review the show if you get a moment. It helps other people find it. You can also email us questions if you'd like to, the gapodcast@gmail.com. You can also go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. If you want to leave us questions in there, you can jump in and play video games. Maybe you've got Left 4 Dead 2. You want to play some of that. We can definitely hook that up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just talking about random stuff on there. It's good fun. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/GA Podcast, twitter.com/GA Podcast. You can go to our YouTube page, which is thegapodcast.com/YouTube. If you want to watch this show on video, we'll have this week some Maneater footage and some Desperados footage. And it looks like I've got some footage of Vermintide. I'm not sure if it's any good or what it is exactly, but I've got something up there.
It's probably just you standing at the back, shooting literally through us, because there wasn't any friendly fire on the easiest fucking difficulty. Shooting through us to steal all our fucking kills. It's just like, I won't be surprised
if Mr. Jewel Guns.
Fucking what the fuck ever. Anyway.
Yeah, you can go over and check that out. Last week I had footage of, like I said, Ori, and we had Doom Eternal, some stuff going up. Joab smashing people at Doom Eternal. So yeah, you can also go to our website, which is thegapodcast.com, if you want to go check out all the links, things we just talked about on the show, including past episodes. Maybe you want to go see our Game of the Year podcast, which I saw some people checking that out as well recently. And that website is run thanks to our Patreon members. If you want to help support this show, you can go to patreon.com/GA Podcast. Become a subscriber. You get the podcast like a day early, generally. Nice. If you want to do that. So thank you to everyone that does that every month.
Thank you. Yeah.
And big thank you. Welcome back to Dangaz, who has rejoined Dangaz, who has rejoined the Patreon crew after remember like a year and a half back or 2 years when Patreon fucked everybody with that. They changed their policies. We're slowly catching back up to where we were. But
nice.
We've hit our mark.
And we're going to spend it all on fucking legal fees. I'll see you in court, dong ass.
You're paying his own
for my
legal
fucking
fees.
lawyers.
Yeah. Wise move. But yeah, maybe we'll start looking at doing some bonus episodes on here. Much like the Star Wars stuff again. We'll have to talk about that. Anyway. That is it for this week. If you've got anything you'd like to pimp out, Joab, I know you do, so you can do it now.
Head to GameSpot and read my Underlords review. I'm sure we talked it up a bunch on this fucking podcast. We spent 40 minutes talking it down, so you may as well check it out. Also, if you are playing Underlords and you'd love to know how to do the Master of None achievement to get the very pretty Master of None title, I wrote a guide.
Yeah.
It's on Steam. you can go to the guide section. I think it's at the top there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been bumped by a Russian one, by someone called Free Hugs.
By someone called Joab. Russian Joab.
It is literally the same thing I wrote. What the fuck? These Russians, they're up to the fucking same old tricks, motherfuckers.
My favorite part about that guide is how you talk about how you're going to lose in that game, and I did it and came first.
Did you see I amended? I edited it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I edited it. Where is it? Also, based on all the feedback I've gotten so far, winning with this comp is pretty easy, and I'm just bad at Underlords. Yeah.
Cool.
Gold.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, so there you go.
Cool. So
what about you, Luke? What do you got?
You can go to survivor.com. I put up a preview last week of Ori and the Will of the Wisps. If you want to go read that, you can. But otherwise, yeah, stay tuned. We'll keep. I'm sure I'll have more stuff going up soon. As long as this coronavirus disappears. Otherwise, I'm not going anywhere because that's the way things are turning out so far. Everything's been cancelled.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But that's it. That's it for this week. Next week, I think we'll be doing Ori next week, and hopefully some other stuff. Maybe some Left 4 Dead if we can get that.
Sweet.
That going.
Fingers crossed.
Probably not as much as what we had this week. I don't think we're gonna have 14 games again.
Probably not. Not for a little while.
No.
Not until
It's getting close. There is stuff coming out.
E3 and they just do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. For everyone. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening.
Cool. Bye.